A crossover is
Crossover dribble.
crossover.
Kyrie Irving, crossover in the lane.
One of the most famous crossovers of all time.
Behind the back, an ankle breaker on Chris Paul.
The crossover continues to evolve.
It does. And the crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Boys, good morning.
Hello. Hello.
We got happy baseball here between the two of you. Big weekend for the Royals.
Yeah.
Braves beat the Phillies last night. Take that, Mitch Williams.
Yeah.
Right.
Josh, how are you feeling?
You know, I'm oddly like reinvigorated. Like I don't think the Braves are gonna do anything, but they've shown a little bit of fight.
You like it when they fight.
Yeah.
Fighting's good, yes.
I mean, they could lay down and die.
Yes. I mean, they are.
And if they die, they die.
I'm once again, I have a hard time understanding why they would do that, considering they're in the playoffs right now by a game and a half. Josh, if you listen to Josh exclusively for your Braves news, you'd think that they were tanking and
The White Sox
getting
and
out
the
of
Braves.
town.
and-
Yeah, but no,
They're there.
they currently hold a playoff spot. They're 9 games over 500.
Have you seen the lineup?
I have.
Okay.
I have. Have you seen everyone else's lineup?
I guess not. no.
Yeah.
Hey,
They're
the
all
Rangers
bad.
just got in last year. Look how well that went.
Everybody in the NL stinks,
Stinks.
aside from the Dodgers and the Phillies.
A resurgent Whit Merrifield.
Yep. See, there you go. He's going to take you to the promised land. Guy's been waiting to win his whole career.
Something named Gio Urshela.
There you go. He was a free one from the
Yes.
Tigers.
Picked him up off a literal scrap heap.
Uh-huh.
Otis Nixon still got some in him.
So
87 now?
it's not that bad, Josh.
Spencer Schwellenbach striking out 9 on national television last night.
You care so much about run differential. They're plus 52 in run differential.
I do like run differential.
You love it when teams are good at run differential.
Especially when they have more of them.
One smart baseball person told me to look at it once. So
I like the records.
Records on the scoreboard.
Interesting take.
Those are usually pretty indicative.
So you thought about going to Kansas City Sunday, and
Yeah.
old Connor was like, yeah,
Yeah.
new Connor's,
yeah, hop in the car, drive on down.
Well, I'm very excited right now.
as you should be.
And you know, it's a big next 20 games here. So we're gonna find a way to make it out of the other side. And I thought, I got to get to one of these somehow, especially considering football starts next weekend and it's over. I usually try to go to the last Sunday home game of the season, but that would be very early this year because they play their last 6 on the road. So it'd be a week earlier. Sunday would have been a great opportunity to go. Then I thought about it some more and I thought, I don't think that I could probably just get up and go to Kansas City anymore. I don't think that's really a part of my life.
I think your life has changed.
Yes, that's a big
Mhm.
change. That's a big change. I don't know. I haven't discussed it with anybody yet. Maybe we'd be up for a trip, but I'd say it seems quite unlikely. At this
Baby's
point.
first Royals game, but Josh did remind it's supposed to be near 100 down there on Sunday. Of course, of all the days.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just don't think that's probably going to work. I'll sit there and watch on my couch all weekend.
Sorry, you guys
maybe
can all
not.
do that together.
Yeah. We'll sit there and we'll watch. We'll watch some week 0 football on Saturday.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, I've been trying to. There's got to be an illegal stream out there for that Hawaii game.
Always is.
There always
Don't
is.
worry.
Yeah, so
Just follow
11:59?
Twitter.
I will not be betting Delaware State. I don't think, even though they're
40 and a half.
40.5 point underdogs.
Numbers grown this week with their
Tough.
travel troubles.
Yeah,
That's a big number.
yeah.
Hawaii really stinks.
Yeah.
Which
That's what keeps me from doing that.
I should tell you a great deal about the thoughts on Delaware State. But yeah, no.
Couldn't get him to Lincoln instead of UTEP.
We will have our first round of predictions. They won't count for the standings this weekend. Josh, did you win again last year?
I did. I hit
Oh, yeah.
64%.
Yeah, you won. You won
Nice.
going away last year. So I'm looking for revenge. And so this is our practice predictions week. This is our scrimmage.
This is preseason.
Yeah,
Your
this is,
soap
yeah.
scrimmage.
So we'll be betting against a bunch of games that nobody cares about / will watch. And we have to throw another thing in there. So I'm throwing in Phillies Royals. We'll do that.
You can
Love
get
it.
behind that. Yeah.
Royals over under a series, a win and a half in the series.
Oh.
You can do it the other way too, whichever way you feel. But yeah, practice predictions today. I'm sure people will be real tuned in for that. practice prediction.
Much like preseason football last night, which I conveniently forgot.
You know,
I didn't forget. I just chose not to watch it.
I think as far as my preseason intake, I'm right on par with usual, which is like non-zero, but not more than like 1, hour
Yes.
of preseason football that I watched some of the Caleb Williams show last weekend. That was fun. Are they almost done with preseason games?
Nick said last night was the finale.
That was it.
This weekend is week
This
3.
weekend, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is the last week.
and there's only 3 weeks of the preseason.
Right.
Got it.
Except
I
for
have
the
no
Bears.
idea how any of this
Chiefs
stuff
game
works.
was blacked out for me last night on YouTube TV.
I heard about that.
Not that I was going to watch it, but my dad asked me, like, hey, what channel's the Chiefs game on? And I said, well, the Braves game is on Fox. You need to watch the Braves
It's the
game.
most important thing.
We need your help.
No, we still have we still have a round of games this weekend.
Yeah.
We have several, so there's no finales.
Full slate, but it is
No,
the
full slate,
final.
but it's the final
It's the
of
final
preseason.
weekend.
Yeah.
Got it.
Adrian's starting tomorrow.
Oh, let's go. Who
Who do you say? Jets are
Giants.
playing- Oh yeah, Battle of New York.
Jets Giants.
He will join the names of illustrious quarterbacks that have played in that game.
It'll be
Ken
get-
O'Brien.
He'll be
Phil
getting
Simms.
great tutelage from Aaron Rodgers. I know he won't be playing, but will he be there? Who knows?
Physically, maybe.
Maybe.
Mentally, I don't know.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
But yeah, let's go, Adrian.
Adrian. All right.
If it isn't for the Jets, somebody else is going to see him. I know a team in Texas, in North Texas, that could use another quarterback.
It's always unclear how to watch these games too. There's got to be a couple nationally broadcast games in here somewhere. People will still watch that.
Sunday, I believe CBS in their usual window, NBC in their usual window.
Okay.
Patriots Commanders Sunday Night Football. Get ready.
Yikes.
Sunday night
Yikes.
preseason game.
Yes.
Woof.
Ugh.
Yeah. And they're sitting starters because it's the last game. So
Good thing Al
Yes.
Michaels isn't doing this. He'd be quite pissy.
it'll be the Joe Milton show.
Yeah.
And people will get all excited about Joe Milton again.
I like this Joe Milton guy.
This Joe Milton can really throw it. Yeah, but can he do anything else?
And does he
Except
throw
for
it to the
throw the
correct
ball
team?
far. Yeah. That's every year we trick ourselves into Joe Milton, something happening with Joe Milton. It's not happening. A whole new fan base had to experience it this year. It was a lot of fun to watch that roller coaster. He's not good. He's not good. He's got a lot of talent, but he's not good.
Get your season tickets now.
Yeah. Yeah, watch out. I'm excited for Drake May, though. I like Drake May. I'm team Drake May. Drake May was a 5-star quarterback.
And he plays for the commies now, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
he's a Patriot.
Oh, no, he's a Patriot. Yes, that's the
He'll
whole battle.
be-
Joe
he'll be
Milton,
the-
yes.
He'll be the starter for the Pat Riots.
Regular Drew Bledsoe versus Scott Zolak.
Yes, exactly. The names that you come up with, man.
I know.
Yeah, it's special.
Josh Peterson once asked me one day, how do you remember all this? And we were talking about the Cowboys, of course. It was, and I told him, well, you have to understand, young Josh, I remember watching these games. This is all I have. If we're going to talk about the Cowboys, this is all I have. If we're going to talk about the Spurs, we're not going to talk about how they blew a game in 1990, though I have that remembered too.
I was gonna say, yeah, you do though. Like I have my favorite teams who I watch all the time, but I can't remember this crap.
Mm-hmm. I do remember in 99 when the Astros had bases loaded against the Braves in game 3 of the first round, tied 1-1, not once, but twice.
Uh-huh.
And Walt Weiss, double play, I think in the 11th.
Okay, now that's a memorable thing, right? That's a playoff.
Because that pretty much ended. I mean, they did it again. It didn't matter. The Braves ended up winning in 4, but
You don't remember any like
That's right.
Astros regular season things.
just games I went to.
Okay. All right. Wow.
I
I don't know how
remember
you come up with the stuff.
one of the first ones I remember, they were playing the Cardinals, went to extra innings in the Dome. It was right before I went back to school. That was part of why we went. And it was backpack day. And Terry Pendleton was still playing for the Cardinals, if that dates me a little.
Okay.
He went to the Braves the next year.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
There's so many. So we ought to keep track of
Point
all,
is sports.
we ought to keep track of all the names that you say during the show and then put it out on a list or
Mhm.
something like that.
It's like when Gary and I get into naming these obscure quarterbacks or yeah.
Yeah.
He can very much keep up with me no matter when.
We should publish that. We should put that out. There should be some extra content for
Yeah.
us.
There
Maybe
you go.
maybe it'll
Content.
show up in 1620 the email one
Ooh.
day.
Hello.
Something like that.
Give us your address. Not yours.
Yeah, you already
Fill
got
out the
mine.
form.
You already got mine.
Yeah.
Oh boy. What are you doing this weekend?
Week 0. Can't wait.
You're
I'm
locked-
not. It's not
you're-
being sarcastic. I am excited to wake up
I'm
Gonna have
not.
to. Well, it's been gloomy all week because we moved to Seattle for the summer, Seattle, Nebraska. But this just tells me we're gonna have a great, warm, sunny fall.
Oh, it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, but this weekend it's gonna be hot, so I need to hit up the pool a couple times before we start to transition out of that. Because look, let's be honest, next Saturday I'm not going to any pool.
No,
No.
you're
No.
going to the couch.
It's just
pool.
football.
Yeah.
And then we're going to Lincoln in the afternoon. And
See,
yeah,
that's why I can't. That's why I can't get there with week 0. I'll watch. I'll definitely be excited at 11 o'clock and flip on the Georgia Tech and Florida State game. But if you're asking me to be locked in all day on these stupid games, I'm out. I'm way out.
But
I'm not gonna do that.
that Hawaii game, I'm intrigued.
I
by.
view it as, I'm excited for football to be here, and we're running out of stuff to talk about with Nebraska football, so we'll have a fun week next week. Just rehashing everything we've done for the last 8 months.
Did you hear they have a new quarterback?
I heard this. Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll do that whole thing. We'll get excited for the first game, and then I think probably by the time the week goes on, we'll probably start getting more excited about the second game. I view this weekend as the last weekend of the summer.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, I got a chance to do some things that I'm probably not going to have the opportunity to do once football season rolls around. So we'll move around. We'll get a gas mow in, maybe.
Oh yeah.
They're doing
I was just
some.
thinking that, yeah. There
They're
you go.
doing some utility work in my neighborhood, and I just so happen to have the electrical box for the people around me in my backyard. So I don't know what's going to happen, but there's going to there's a possibility by the time the weekend ends, my backyard is a total disaster, not any of my fault.
That would be heartbreaking.
It would be
actually.
because I've put in a lot of work this summer on that thing.
You don't have any more weekends to work on that because football season's here.
My neighbor came up to me one of my new neighbors came up to me recently and said, "How did you get your lawn looking so nice?" And I was like, "Wow, amazing!"
Say it into the
compliment.
phone so I can record it.
First of all, yes, and
Have a beer.
I just
sit
said,
down.
"Yeah," I just said like, "Hey, it's just kind of, it's just keeping up with it. Like you just got to pay attention to it, right? It's constant. It's watering and it is mowing and keeping it at a proper length and stuff like that." And that's how you do it. Like there's no secret. There's no secret to
You just
making
said
your lawn look good. You just have to pay attention to it.
Mhm.
You just have to do it. And so if all that work gets upended by electrical work in my backyard, I'm going to not probably be happy about that.
There could be multiple tantrums thrown in the Happer household
I know,
from multiple members of the Happer
Right.
family.
I'll just be sitting there watching them do it. It will be fun.
Well, there's Connor and the baby pouting. Well,
Yeah.
two different reasons,
It's all my hard work up in smoke.
but and not even in the fun up in smoke way, like
No,
like the movie,
the very bad up
the
in
very
smoke
bad.
way.
Yeah,
It just goes. Like there's nothing I can do about it. So we'll see what my mood's like on Monday. And then the Royals, if they lose 2 out of 3 or they get swept or something like that, then I'll be really, really sad. And it'll put me in a really bad mood for football.
just start the week.
Yeah. And I'll get over
Good
it.
thing we don't have that round table on Monday then.
Also, I really do not appreciate this heat that seems to be coming in. We're going to cool off by next week.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Game day, the forecast is already out for game day in Lincoln. Low 80s as of now.
Yeah,
Very
looks-
little, if any, precipitation. Should be gorgeous for a 2:30 kickoff. But the next 3 days after today are going to be quite warm. Sunday and Monday in particular.
We're going to get that hot heat Sunday, Monday, and then start
They're a
to
good
cool
band.
off. Hot heat.
Yeah.
And start to cool off. Saturday, game day. Let's do Lincoln.
God.
Let's do Lincoln. You like that, Josh?
No, I just looked up the forecast for Milledgeville, Georgia on Saturday. 94.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
that's
You
where
guys
you're
are out
gonna
on
be.
the road.
That's
Hot
where
one for the Reavers.
They'll
Yeah.
have the roof closed down there, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
It's Saturday in Lincoln.
Broadcast in the stands.
82 and a sun.
Look at that.
82 and a sun. Sunday, 77 and a chance of rain in Lincoln. Wow.
All those people celebrating, getting ready for the Colorado game at that point. 6 days till it'll be 77.
Boy, that's always the thing that gets me right around this time. It's like, yeah, okay, we're excited for the first game, but the second game,
Yeah.
watch out, because that's what you fail to think about. Like the rest of the season comes quick.
Yeah. It's over.
And then it's over. By
Much like adulthood.
yeah, by the time we get to week 6 or 7, I don't know. I wonder what because there's always a little bit of fatigue. It's like, all right, can we end this? Or when do we get to the finish line? But maybe that won't happen this year, given Nebraska should be able to start pretty well.
I would think so. I think they'll win 8 games this year if they stay healthy.
Whoa!
I know.
Is that a record prediction?
No, I'm not
Already?
the only one that said 8.
No, you're not the only one,
Yeah.
that's for sure. But you put it out there.
Record for early, you mean?
I mean, I'm just saying you said it.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
That's a big prediction.
I do believe it. 8-4.
8-4.
And maybe
I'm still
Music
zoned
City
in.
Bowl, Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Oh.
The storylines that would be there if they went to the Duke's Mayo Bowl, not just Matt Rule getting dumped with mayonnaise, but where do they play that game? Charlotte.
Yeah.
Matt Rule's last laugh.
He'd have to do a bunch of media in Charlotte.
Yeah, that would probably not be great.
Here's what you do if you're him. You show up in a Larry Johnson Hornets jersey. Olive branch to the
Grandmama.
people. Yeah.
Some guy from some Panthers podcast pops up and he's like, he's got some really serious questions for him.
Hey, this is Mitch from the Keep Pounding podcast. Just wanted to ask you a question here, Matt. We'll talk about
The 96.
Talk about
NFC
what, Josh?
champion.
why it
Bullshit.
didn't work.
Yeah. Why do you think it didn't work? I don't know. Maybe the team sucked and the GM sucked.
We didn't
the
have
owner's a
Dylan.
horrible human being.
Maybe there was COVID during the time. I'm not sure. What makes you think you're a good coach? I don't know. We just went to this bowl game and I got mayo dumped all over me.
We're here. It's tangy taste. It's got a little bit of a kick to it.
Did you see this team before I got here? They were crap.
I did it.
I
Me.
won at Temple once.
Me
Yeah,
and John Chaney. That's it.
That dude won at
Bruce
Temple.
Arians.
Yeah, that was pretty much the story. Those are
Yeah.
the only guys who have ever done that.
Matt Rule, Bruce Arians, and John. Actually, Bruce Arians, I don't think won at Temple. He was eventually fired, but it worked out for him.
Okay, that sounds like a fun Google.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Arians.
He had hair. There are videos on YouTube.
Oh, he wasn't
highlight
wearing the
videos.
Kangles?
No Kangles yet.
Oh, man.
College.
27 and 39.
Yeah, Coach Temple from 83 to 88. Jeez, Jimmy. I didn't even know this happened.
Winning record in 84 and 86.
I don't remember any of this before people give me way too much credit.
Oh.
You don't remember any of those Temple
No.
games?
Now, I do remember Beano Cook back then, rest in peace. I mean, he was a big part of game day in those days. But
Indeed.
I'm
A lot
sorry.
of predictions.
The 1986 team went 6-5 on the field, but had to vacate their wins due to an ineligible player.
hey,
What
they
the
were,
hell, Bruce?
They were doing it before it was popular.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, in 86, Penn State won the national championship.
They did. They beat Miami.
Yeah.
Vinny Testaverde, 21 interceptions in the game itself.
When was Matt Rule playing at Penn State?
Mid 90s, because I think he was part of the team that was in the Rose Bowl against Oregon in 1995, 94 season. But there were other things going around these parts in 1994. So I don't think many people were paying attention to that Rose Bowl that day. They were probably pre-gaming for a game that night.
Yeah, let's see. 94 to 97. Yeah. Would have been a nice time to be at Nebraska as a walk-on.
Arians is also known to be a hard coach on his quarterbacks. When Peyton Manning had a bad game in the first time he faced the Patriots his rookie year, he threw 3 interceptions midway through the fourth quarter. He was so frustrated, he begged Arians, who at the time was the team's quarterback coach, to be pulled from the game. Arians responded by saying, "Bleep no, get back in there, we'll go no huddle, and maybe you'll learn something."
So Peyton wanted to quit. Bruce Arians saved Peyton Manning from quitting on football.
That's right.
He
That's where I
forced
came
him.
from.
He forced him to not quit.
He
from him.
forced him to go play football.
See,
Just go read the defense better. And he did.
It was a different time back then.
Yeah. Things were rougher.
And
They played on carpet that was on top of concrete.
Peyton Manning did love to throw interceptions early in his
He
career,
did.
though.
People forget.
So did Brett Favre, and he maintained that throughout his entire
Yeah,
career.
he constantly loved throwing interceptions. He was just a little better at throwing touchdowns
Yeah.
eventually. Peyton Manning got good at that too,
He was okay.
and then got a lot better at not throwing interceptions. So that was good.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's going to be a fun weekend.
It is.
Just enjoy it.
Enjoy our last weekend.
Hang out.
Best thoughts to the yard. I hope it all turns out okay.
I'm concerned.
I am a little, after you told me that, I'm a little concerned for you guys too.
There is real concern. So we'll have an update on that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah. May your teams do well.
Indeed.
Thank you. Thank
Ooh, that's a big one too. That's the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Friday. We'll start things off next.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, here we go. Welcome in. Happy Friday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. Welcome. Week 0. Nebraska's, no fear. Nebraska's not playing this weekend. You don't have to worry about Ireland or the shenanigans that are going around Ireland and Dublin and things of that nature.
You're going to be tempted to go to the beer tour. Don't go on the beer tour.
Don't worry. Do not worry. Nebraska has nothing to worry about this weekend. They're going to practice a little bit. Matt Rule's going to talk today.
Oh.
What might he say, considering he has his weekly press conference on Monday, and we've already exhausted every single topic. It's all gone.
Oh, there's more we can ask him.
Is there?
It's not my job to ask those questions, but
Monday, there's stuff to ask him, right? Monday, you ask him about UTEP, and
sure.
I think there's a lot of
what do you see on camera, on film, Coach?
Well, there's that. I think there's a lot of detail stuff. It will be Nebraska's first game with fans on the west sideline.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So there's some logistical stuff to work out. Who's going to be talking in the communication systems in the helmets? What coaches are up in the box? Who's returning kicks and punts? We have a depth chart.
Yeah.
Why is Daniel Kalen and Heinrich Harburg have an oar next to them? What's going on? Who's going to be your starting running back? What's your first play going to be? All of those things. Probably not that last one, but all those things will be asked on Monday. But today, it's more of a review of camp. How'd you feel like it gotten better? Matt Rule's probably just gonna, because I've sensed this week from Matt Rule. I think he's a little tired. I think they're it's been a long month. And they lived in the dorms for a while, and I think they're just trying to break through that wall and get to the next level. So I think there's a little bit of that setting in.
What'd you learn about your team this past month?
No
Matt?
doubt. But then it refreshes on Monday.
How long have you been working on that golf shot, Matt? You see that golf shot?
I did see that golf shot. He was excited about that.
He nailed it.
Right. And he said he's not a very good golfer. He said after that clip, he said, if you give me that shot 9 out of 10 times, I probably don't hit it through those uprights. But that one time, that's all I need, baby. That's all I need. Don't challenge me.
That was magic.
Don't come at me. Yeah. The dudes step up when it's all on the line. It's important. Everybody's razzing him behind. Ooh.
Pressure makes diamonds, Connor.
Yep. I think that's a good omen for the season.
Definitely.
Let's talk about more good omens as we go on throughout the show today. Today on a Friday, we'll talk to Bryan Munson of Husker Online, a big visitor. I thought game visits were dead.
I was told that, yes.
They're very much alive in the case of Michael Terry.
Michael Terry,
5-star. Michael Terry, 5-star.
Not the office linebacker.
Nebraska might still be playing from behind a little bit, but big news for the Huskers to get him in for the Colorado game. That's Nebraska's opportunity to shoot their best shot in a game day atmosphere. So he'll be visiting then. We'll talk about Munson with that. I have a few other things that I'm curious about from a recruiting standpoint as well. Brian Christopherson coming up at 11:30. We'll talk about, and that'll be right before Rule Talks. We'll get into a variety of different things. I want to ask him specifically, Rule mentioned a few guys, freshmen that are going to play. We know Raiola. We know Ja'Cory Barney. We know Vincent Shavers. We know Carter Nelson. Those guys are going to play roles for Nebraska this year. Who else? I have a sense that there's some more. But those are your certain ones. So we'll get into that with BC and plenty more at 11:30, and a chat with Stephen M. Sipple. I heard that there was a new Seether song today.
Yes, I have heard this as well. I've not heard the song. I have heard the song exists.
Yes. Nick comes in and he starts shouting. He sits down at his computer and he opens up his Spotify and he starts shouting about bands that I've never heard of who are releasing music today. And he said, "Oh, Seether had a new song."
He's of music, but every time we talk about music and the crossover with him, he's like, I don't know who that is.
Interesting. So we'll ask him, we'll maybe play the new Seether song for him or something like that. I don't know. Sipple will join at 12:30. Like I said, practice predictions coming up today. I'm sure people will greatly enjoy that segment. That's the lineup powered by the Rooferees, John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you guys? 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Josh O at 1620thezone.com in the Equitable Bank inbox. We say good morning to our YouTube streaming audience today. Hello. You can stream us on YouTube. And you can zap that up to your TV if you're sitting at home on a Friday. You could also find us very conveniently at zonetv.live. Zonetv.live. From the text line.
A great invention, yeah.
Ethan writes in.
Hello, Ethan.
Ethan says, when you said "or by their name," I thought you meant "or," like for a boat. We are not PJ Fleck's Golden Gophers. How dare you say the word "or"?
We can't be banning.
Here's the thing: we don't have to deal with them this year.
Yeah,
we don't have to. It's like they're not even. It's like they're not even in the Big Ten. It's like they're not even in our league anymore. I for one will miss playing the Gophers. I think that's a fun little game. I don't care about the stupid chair, but I think it's a fun little game. That's the second closest opponent that Nebraska has in the Big Ten. It's Nebraska and Minnesota. They've played every year since they've been in the conference. There's been some real bad ones. Remember Demery Croft in 2017? Remember when they came here in 2020 with 12 players?
Sleeves.
Yeah.
Something about sleeves.
Oh, there was the hoodies in 2019.
Yeah. Those were two separate games. I don't know why I conflated in my mind as one.
No, because 2020 Minnesota game. We had gotten a snowstorm the previous night. It was very cold. This game was in December because it was 2020. I don't think Scott Frost would have cared about people wearing hoodies or sleeves in that game. But in the 2019 game, it was I was at that game. It was sleeting. I remember going up to this trip and we scheduled this trip up to Minnesota to go to this game. And I thought, wow, this is going to be awesome. I think it was October 12th. It's the perfect time to be in Minnesota, right? All of a sudden, here comes the sleet. It was a disaster. And then to hear Scott Frost after the game, talk about his players and say that he was a little disappointed that guys were out there wearing hoodies in pregame warmups. He couldn't take it anymore. Nebraska lost that game with Noah Vedral as their quarterback. I believe it was 34-7. I left early in the fourth quarter.
Good for you.
I had enough, but I had a lot of cheese curds and I had beer at the stadium. And guess what? It went very well. Made some friends around. I loved that trip.
Did you pay with cash or card?
Probably card.
Wow.
Probably card.
You monster. What about the Hawkers?
I don't even know if they had Hawkers.
No Hawkers.
I remember walking around the lower concourse of the stadium before the game, and Nebraska had. This was the season where Nebraska had real problems at kicker. They didn't know what was going to happen, and remember, I think it was a week later, maybe a week earlier, they had won that game against Northwestern where they had Lane McCallum, the safety. He barely made that field goal, like that 2-yard field goal to beat Northwestern. It just barely somehow didn't hit somebody's hand and didn't get blocked. They won by 3. So we were on full on kicker gate. And so there's that open part of Minnesota Stadium. And I went down there and I watched them all kick before. Nobody made anything. Nobody made there. There's even a tweet. I took a picture. It was I just saw kickers completely biff from 28 yards. It was so bad. Nebraska didn't need a kicker that night. They needed a lot more than a kicker I guess. They lost by several touchdowns that night. So that Minnesota game was fun. We don't have to cast off Minnesota this year. We could watch them and make fun of them and not have to worry about if Nebraska's going to lose to them. It's kind of nice because I know that Nebraska fans, we don't like this when we make fun of other people, but then Nebraska can't beat. Well, what has Nebraska done against them? I'd like to see your trophy case.
You don't get to make fun of them because you've never beaten them. Actually, if it's funny, it's funny.
Well, guess what? They don't play them this year, so we don't even have to have that conversation. We don't even have to do it. It's great. Here's a text from the 402. Speaking of Sipple.
Hi, 402.
Sipple spoke in York earlier this week, and they raffled an autographed Sipple picture. And there is a photo attached to this. It is quite literally, so the one picture of Sipple, it's from the Journal Star. He's got kind of the chin strap going on, and this was taken probably in the neighborhood of 15 years ago, somewhere around that mark. But he's wearing a jacket, and it's his former headshot from the Journal Star. And it is framed in an old worn wood frame, and it is indeed signed, assumingly by Steve Sipple.
Wow.
How much did you pay to get in that raffle? Or did the texter pay to get in that raffle? I will definitely be asking Sipple about this.
This is good information to bring to the show. Thank you.
Yeah. John emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, John.
Whoa. You don't care about the $5 bits of broken chair trophy? Nebraska's a member of the Big Ten. We care about our trophy games. That's not a real trophy game. Sorry. I care about charity. I like charity.
Oh, okay.
I like charity. Charity, which is what they do every year. But no, I do not care about the $5 bits of. General rule, I don't really care about trophy games that were invented by Twitter. General rule of thumb.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what trophy I do care about? I care about Civil Conflict created by Bob Diaco. UConn versus UCF, Civil Conflict. And then he was very angry because UCF didn't go get the trophy afterwards. The press conference is absolutely elite. Yeah, so they didn't get the trophy. And you could tell it really hurt him. He goes, I'm trying to do something special. I was just trying to give it a little bit more energy. And he was truly hurt by the fact that UCF, coached by Scott Frost, by the way, in 2016, did not run over to grab the trophy after beating UConn in the Civil Conflict game.
No Civil Conflict on the schedule this year for UConn.
Really?
Right.
Sad.
Very.
What conference is UConn in for football? Are they independent? What's their schedule looking like? Are they in the AAC?
That's what I was thinking. At Maryland, at Duke is on here, hosting Wake Forest.
Okay, those are non-con games.
Yeah.
What else? Give me the bulk.
At UMass, at Syracuse, at UAB, Georgia State, Rice.
Okay, so they're independent.
Temple, Buffalo. Yeah.
They're independent.
Florida Atlantic.
It's a good way to find out that UConn's independent in football. I would have, I figured, but whatever. Scott writes in.
Hi, Scott. Probably Scott Frost.
The only fan-made trophy is the one you don't like? That's usually how the old ones started. The corporate-sponsored ones are lame. That's also true. Like Nebraska and Iowa don't need to play for an actual trophy. Like it's Nebraska and Iowa. They hate each other, and there's a lot of reasons why Nebraska and Iowa would not like each other. They play each other in the last game of the year. That I don't care about that trophy, certainly. To Scott's point, mostly because it's forced and brought to you by somebody. No offense to those companies. I believe it's been Hy-Vee and Shields over the last several years.
That sounds right.
And then the Wisconsin game has a trophy too about freedom. I love freedom.
You're on the record. You love freedom.
Love freedom. Big fan of freedom. Don't care much about the freedom trophy. That's for sure. The old ones, if it wasn't in the most recent version of NCAA football video game, I don't care about it.
Okay, I remember.
I care about the rest of Minnesota's rivalry trophies, the pigs and the buckets and the axes and the shillelaghs, things of that nature. Like those are pretty cool. Okay, got those takes right out of the way. Welcome to the show. Do we have any special guests on this Friday? People are talking about special guests.
Oh, Big Buzz. Yes.
Yes.
This one's going to blow you away, guys. Can't divulge who it is yet, but the upper echelon of fame is where we're looking for this one.
What could it mean? What could it mean? Don't worry. There definitely will be a special guest.
They will be here
on the show at some point today. All right. Welcome to it. Happy Friday. We will come back. I want to get into a variety of different things before we talk to Munson, starting off at 11 o'clock. Text from the 757, by the way.
757.
The broken chair trophy is the only one that matters. A lot of people piping up for the broken chair trophy.
Oh, we love a bit, don't we, folks?
Yeah, I guess so. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. A comment from the YouTube from Bayamon.
I wait.
Honestly, if your trophy for your game was created after, say, 1980, then I don't view it as real and could not care less. I think that's actually probably closer.
Mm-hmm.
closer. The only time it makes a difference is when there's you had to have played for this trophy more than like 50 times for the game to even be real.
Someone has to have stolen a mascot.
Yes,
For...
there has to be a goat involved.
Yes,
something like that. Yeah, there's got to be some weird. I'm one of my dynasties on the college football video game. Josh, I know you haven't heard a lot about this recently. I'm Minnesota, and every time I play Wisconsin, and it's the Axe game, right? They talk about a little bit the history of the Axe. It's a long running game, one of the longest running games, if not the longest running game. But what they played for before the Axe, at least according to the video game, is what they used to play for was a slab of bacon.
Oh,
yes.
Let's bring that back.
Now, I don't know the history of that. You get a new piece of bacon every year. I'd rather just have the Axe that they kind of. The Axe is a lot cooler. Bacon's overrated.
I'm just gonna let you sit in that for a couple seconds.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
I've been sitting in it for years.
I know.
Bacon is overrated. What? Do you have any questions? Do you have an appointment?
While I do not agree with you in lockstep, I understand your thought process.
Everyone's like, "Oh, bacon, bacon,
And,
bacon!
yeah.
We put bacon on anything. I mean, bacon,
bacon soap, bacon
dude.
deodorant. Oh, what about a
You know
bacon
what I would
candle?
do? I would put bacon on top of my cake.
I'll put
It's
bacon
like-
on top of my bacon.
Yeah, I just love bacon. It's like, no, you don't.
There is
You just like the idea of bacon because for some reason bacon has been put in this category where it's like it's for some reason manly to eat bacon or something like that. You don't actually like bacon.
and it's funny. Bacon's funny.
Oh, bacon, bacon, bacon. It is far from the superior breakfast meat. Far, far from it. Far, Josh. Far.
You a sausage guy?
Yes.
Links or patties?
Ground.
Okay. Spicy or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Spicy. Indeed. Sausage in any form is pretty good.
Okay.
That's the breakfast meat that you want to deal with. Bacon's fine.
There is an over baconization of America.
100%. Much like there is an over an enhanced sense of Keaton and what's the other? Oh, buffalo chicken. Oh, buffalo chicken. Put buffalo chicken on stuff. A buffalo chicken pizza?
Hell yeah.
No. Hell no. It's week 0 this weekend. Speaking of week 0, we were going to get to the story earlier in the week. There's some college football officials, apparently, who are beginning the movement to make week 0 week 1.
Make week 0 week 1.
Yes. Move up the entire season.
So they've done this thing on ESPN.com where if you look up the college football schedule, it lumps week 0 and week 1 together.
Yeah. That's because there's only 4 games and nobody cares about any of them.
Right.
Right. That makes sense. But what they want to do, and there's reasons why here, is move up the entire slate.
Oh.
A week. So this is from Ross Dellinger of Yahoo a little bit earlier in the week.
Hi, Ross.
What if those week 0 games, or what if those week 1 games, those really good ones, Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, LSU, USC, Miami, Florida, Penn State, West Virginia, that's all next weekend. What if those games were this weekend? What if the start of the season began a week earlier?
What if the games were just good this weekend?
In the future, it could very well happen. In fact, not long ago, college football playoff leaders seriously discussed the prospect of shifting up by a week. The entire regular season. Week 0 would become the new week 1, and conference championship games would shift from the first weekend in December to Thanksgiving week. Rivalry week, traditionally played Thanksgiving week, aka, Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, Nebraska, whatever other rivalry you want to throw in there, would be the week before, as everything is moved up a week. The goal?
Ooh.
Free up the second week of December to play the first 4 first-round games of the expanded playoff. For now, those games are scheduled for the third week of December, and we've discussed this before, but why do they want to move off of the third week December? Because the NFL has encroached on the college football territory. And they have decided, and according to college football playoff officials, purposefully call out and say, Daddy's home. The NFL is boss. And so the NFL has encroached on their territory, and they've put 2 big NFL games that weekend. Remember, the noon kickoff on NBC that weekend is the Texans versus the Chiefs.
Hello.
And then the 3:30 kickoff on Fox is one of the most attractive division rivalries over the last 20 years. And that would be Steelers-Ravens. One college football executive said, quote, "They purposefully scheduled aggressively against us." The college games version of the first 4 debuts this year with a game on Friday night, December 20th, 3 games on Saturday, December 21st, a noon kickoff at 3 p.m. and a 7 p.m. Those 2 games, the 2 games competing with NFL are scheduled to be televised by TNT through a sub-license package from original rights owner ESPN, who almost assuredly expects a ratings dip for such games, hence why they sold them to TNT.
Yes. Looks like both of those games, the Texans, Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens, you can listen to right here on 1620 The Zone that day.
Then we've made a choice as well.
Yes, I don't see any Creighton or any Creighton conflicts that day.
Quote, from one college leader with knowledge of the CFP's discussions, "If the ratings are in the tank, it'll start a whole conversation again."
Not going to be in the tank.
They're not going to. People are going to watch it. But they're so... Like, we went so far into the ratings or everything game that now they're worried about the ratings, and we're going to move the entire college season up a week just to avoid. But guess what? Like, you're always going to be reactive to the NFL. Like, you know what's going to happen? The NFL is going to get the week 18. They're going to schedule 18 games soon. There's going to be 19 weeks of the NFL. They're going to get even closer to you.
They're going to change their scheduling model.
They're going to expand their playoff. Like, you're always going to lose. You're always going to lose. So why not just play up against them and see how it goes? Like, I you can't run from them very far because you're still limited to the parameters of football season, right? Like, what's next? You play in May? Like, no, you can't run from the NFL.
You can.
Or you can run, but you can't hide. Maybe I should say.
You can't make me care about Liberty versus Ole Miss and the "why can't I say that word too" bowl.
Nice, Josh.
Thank you.
It's brought to you by Twitter.
Outkick.
Matt Commissioner John Steinbrecher said in an interview last December, "I've been a proponent of Week 0 moving the end date of the season. Moving championships a week is problematic for a lot of us if you're doing your championships in NFL stadiums. You're contracted out a ways. That is a hurdle that they would have to get over here. But make no mistake about it, if the people from the CFP want to move the season up a week because they think their ratings for their college football playoff games are going to be in the tank and their TV partners aren't happy, you know what's going to happen, Josh. They're going to move that damn thing up."
Oh, yeah. They'll...
Yep.
Right, Friday night playoff game.
Everything revolves around the playoff, and everything revolves around television. So they will do whatever they can to make those happy. And tradition be damned. The Iron Bowl, the game, Florida State, Florida, all of these. Get ready to learn the week before Thanksgiving, buddy, because it's coming. No more what happens to Nebraska, Iowa on Black Friday? Nebraska, a tradition unlike any other, played on Black Friday, love Black Friday, embrace Black Friday, unless you're Sean Eichhorst. He's not here anymore. Now, no longer. Maybe coming soon.
I don't know when that's coming, but I want those 2 days that we pretend to be outraged about that off of work. I don't want to be here.
You're trading. You're going to be trading Black Friday. You'll still get to play Iowa in the last week of the regular season, but it just won't be Black Friday. You're trading Black Friday for a game in August. Not a good trade, Josh.
The last
Not a
game
good
of
trade.
The last game of the season doesn't taste the same if I don't get to taste Grandma's bland potato salad.
I actually do want to be here for that day because this is going to happen, by the way. And I actually do want to be here for that day because I'm mad. I would be mad about that. If they stole Black Friday away from Nebraska, I'd be mad.
Yeah,
I would not be happy about that.
That's a real thing. Like, I'm making fun of it, but that's a real thing. I just, there's nothing I can do about it.
No, of course. It's TV.
Yeah.
It's the playoff.
What am I going to do? Not watch TV? No, of course not.
Yeah, we're all going to be in jail on this thing. They're going to handcuff us and they're going to say, sit down, damn it, and watch a football game in August. And we're going to say, fine. Sure. I'm not going to not watch it.
One less week of the off season? Hell yeah, brother.
Exactly. But then when November rolls around, it's like, and you wake up on Black Friday and you're watching Nebraska not play in the conference championship game, or you're not watching Michigan, Ohio State on that Saturday. Actually, you maybe still are, just, in a dome, which is weird. You're going to be disappointed. That's tradition. All in the name of TNT getting some better ratings for their subcontracted playoff game. Congratulations, college football. We've done it again. Quote from one key decision maker.
Key decision maker.
It's got to happen. That's where the world is heading. I love when people use that as a reason for things. That's where the world is heading.
I am inevitable.
From a variety of different. Let's go to my DMs here.
Oh, okay.
Connor, worst food take ever. Austin, host of the show sometimes. Austin
Jacobson.
I stand with Connor. It kind of tracks, doesn't it?
It really does.
Matt DeMarinis.
Oh,
he's right. Bacon is the Vanderbilt sports of meats.
Whoa!
It's notable by association only.
I don't agree with that. What he just said.
Handshake meme.
But that's a really well thought out, well worded take. Like, I don't agree with it, but I respect the creativity there.
By association only. They're in the SEC, yes. But that doesn't mean they're any good. John emails in.
Hi, John.
Yet another, by the way, nobody has any thoughts on this college football playoff thing. They only have thoughts about the bacon. Yet another horrible food take by you. I love bacon. It doesn't need to be on everything, but it is on my plate every Sunday morning. And sausage is trash as a breakfast meat. It is great in biscuits and gravy or in pasta sauce, though. Definitely is great in biscuits and gravy and pasta sauce. That much is for sure.
This is hilarious because you've revealed this take before. You've said this before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta remember to say all the things that I said during the summer during football season.
Really, engagement farm.
Okay, now John has a thought on the Black Friday situation.
Thank you, John.
Josh is wrong.
Whoa!
There is something we can do about losing the Black Friday game. We can complain about it, and when it happens, we will definitely complain. Oh, yeah, we're going to complain, but there's not going to you're not going to change anything. They're going to move that thing. See you later. Get ready to learn August, buddy.
It's very hot in August.
Yep, indeed. Text from the 757.
Hi, 757 again.
OMG, you hate the $5 chair trophy, and now you are attacking bacon? Who do you think you are? Yep, things I'm out on. Bits of broken chair trophy, bacon. A hot start to the show here on a Friday morning. Text from the 402. Icorst must be pulling these strings to try and get rid of the Iowa Black Friday game. That's what this is. It's definitely Sean Icorst who's doing this. I will get my revenge. I promise you. I know they brought it back and they made everything right again. Bilbos made everything right again. But I will get my revenge one day. I don't think he serves in the College Football Playoff Committee. I'm not sure that they would want him to do that. All right. So just get ready. I'm telling you, get ready.
I picture him in a janitor's jumpsuit, like sweeping the office as they're talking, and he just goes, "Hey, why don't you move the season up a week?" And then he starts whistling. Woo, doo, 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 doo. I'm just sweeping. Move the season up a week.
That guy's pulling all the strings. That's what's happening here. All right, coming back, we'll talk to Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com, talk some recruiting with him. A quick reminder first that fall is almost here. And if week 0 is the new week 1, then fall is here. But there's still ample time for you to get to Vala's Pumpkin Patch. And we would like to help you get to Vala's Pumpkin Patch this year. 2 2024 season passes to Vala's. Enjoy the food, the fun, the fall, the Vala's Pumpkin Patch, the best of all. Enter to win right now on our website, 1620thezone.com.
Bryan Munson,
Hey, long call. Comfy left zoom buster. 63 bang. Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we're joined now on the 42 Degrees The Source hotline by our good friend Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Munson, hello. Happy Friday. How are you?
Welcome back, brother.
Thank you. It's it was a long but short 3 weeks.
Yeah, I bet. How is everything there?
Everything's good. Everything's good. We got a little baby who doesn't really enjoy going to sleep. Certainly not sleeping at normal times, but she's figuring things out. So I think everything all in all is pretty good.
I tell you what, it'll be fun to have another partner, another little shotgun rider for the football season, man. So I'm excited for you guys. I'm glad everything's good. I'm glad you're back.
Indeed. Yes, I am too. All right, let's talk some recruiting here. It's been a couple weeks for me, so forgive me if we get into any topics that we've spoken about over the last couple weeks, but I'm just getting refreshed into this whole game. So let's start with, I know we haven't done this because this is just news over the last couple days here. They lost David Sanders, sad, but it was kind of inevitable that was heading that way, right? We kind of thought so, but still on the board for Michael Terry, and so much on the board that he is going to visit for the Colorado weekend. What's the significance of a 5-star wide receiver coming in for Nebraska's biggest home game of the year?
Yeah, it's massive, right? And that's the word I used in Tunnel Talk this morning. First, Michael Terry had kind of shared with me 2 weeks ago that he was making plans to get back up to Nebraska for a game. He didn't know when, and it's really he's got a busy schedule. Like once he starts playing football, they're done. They're in season. They play every week until like November 1st. Like they don't have a bye, and then I think it's like the last week. Of course, they have a bye before they roll into the playoffs or in the districts or whatever. So I kind of thought like Illinois might work because they play on Thursday night and then Nebraska plays on Friday night and they get all day on Saturday, and who knows, maybe that would still work. But Colorado was obviously the big selling game so far that Nebraska's been pitching to all the recruits. So getting Terry in that weekend, let's just start. It's a primetime game. It's going to be the biggest and loudest and best game environment, potentially of the entire season. I mean, Nebraska fans want this.
Oh, it 100% is. Yeah.
This is the game that, it's the way it sets up. It's like if Nebraska loses week 2, but still goes on to be like 7-5 or 8-4, it's going to be like, but we should have beat Colorado. Like one of those deals. It's like it would be one of those kinds of things. So Nebraska fans are all in on trouncing the Buffaloes, on Saturday night. And like I said, primetime game, under the lights. It doesn't get a lot better than that. So you have TJ Lateef coming back that weekend for an unofficial visit as well. So you have the quarterback in the class. Of course, you've got the 5-star, starting out there on the field for the Huskers, a guy that he got to know, basically when he came in for his official visit for the spring game. And he saw firsthand this youth movement that Nebraska's been putting together between, Barney and Lloyd and Rio and Raiola and, all the other young guys that are basically, if you can come in there and show that you're talented enough and you can pick up the system, that you will play. And I think that that's been really a huge selling point, as well as just how Nebraska sees him working in with their offense, which, they see him as a wide receiver. They see him as a guy that can go ahead and go get the football. He's a 50-50 guy, but he's long, he's physical. I compare him to Deebo Samuel every time I bring him up. And Deebo is probably, if not the best player in the NFL or the funnest player for me to watch in the NFL, he's really close to the top. I mean, he is an incredible athlete, and Michael Terry is the same kind of guy. So this is a huge, huge opportunity for Nebraska. I really feel like not only is like the Nebraska staff, just with, where they're at with McGuire and, and all the other guys recruiting him, I think Matt Rule has dialed this one up pretty big. I mean, they understand the importance, the significance of having a guy like Michael Terry in the class. Clearly, going to be difficult. I think Oregon's still part of the picture, but I really think that they're running third. Nebraska is right there with, I think, Texas, and obviously the geography there doesn't really help Nebraska. So Nebraska has to make a compelling argument to get around that distance factor.
They're going to be able to shoot their best shot. This game will allow them to do that. And it kind of brings up I mean, so they have 18 commits in the class, and you mentioned something in the tunnel talk today about just the roster numbers and how you don't exactly know what it's going to look like going forward. And then we've talked about this idea before too, that the game week official visits are just really, they're difficult to do because the kids are playing on Friday night, but they're also, kids' timelines are kind of moving up a little bit. So this is, to get him in for that game, having that game that early is really significant. And you would think that it would be, it's pretty few and far between for guys that they're still going to be after that they could bring in for game day official visits this year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Even having the first couple 3 weekends that are very friendly for some travel to get to Lincoln, it's always difficult. And timelines obviously are a big impact to that. A lot of guys are off the board. There's really only like a handful of guys that we're still talking about in the 2025 class. Maybe as we kind of get going down the road here, maybe end of September, early October, if Nebraska's really turning it up and they see kind of an opportunity to approach a player or two, I could see that happening, like with a linebacker possibly, or definitely with an offensive tackle, and maybe somebody that just kind of emerges. Suddenly you're just waiting on that opportunity, and he gets it. They get an opportunity, and then all of a sudden they're on the radar. But I think it's so interesting to kind of watch with how these weekends typically, like you and I have talked, and it's like there will be 85 players, on the sideline. I don't think that I think those types of days are gone.
Yeah.
I really feel like you're going to have like your commitments for your 2025 list, and maybe a player or two that's 2025 or their current seniors, and then your real big groups are going to be your underclassmen, your juniors, and your sophomores. You need to have those game day visits this fall, because otherwise those players are never going to see what it's like at a game before they take an official visit, and then, potentially end up having to try to commit in July. I mean, it's really kind of backwards right now. So they've really got to kind of make sure they make those trips, understand what the game day environment is about, and then it becomes kind of more of a business situation as they kind of turn the page into spring, late spring, and into summer.
What about the commits already in the class? Like, you'll see those guys showing up throughout the year. Do you have anything on plans from those guys to kind of make it back? Because that could be a big deal when they set up these game weekends. If you are trying to, because obviously, like you just said, you're going to bring in a bunch of 2026s and 2027s, and those guys will be on the sideline. So to have commits for the 25 class at a variety of these different games, I would assume that Nebraska is being, really, really picky about which guys are there, what weekend, and if it all could work out that way.
Yeah, and again, the Colorado weekend is the overwhelmingly the busy weekend there for these players. So as like the Jackson Carpenters and Caden Vermosses and Tyson Terrys and Pierce Newberries, they are undoubtedly going to be there every weekend they could possibly get to Lincoln for a game. They're going to be there. But you kind of got to fan out from there. You got Hammerbeck, you got Hayes, you've got Parker, you got other guys that are just kind of in the general area, right? And it's like those guys that are more regional. Church was the guy I couldn't think of, but he doesn't even know if he'll be there for Colorado yet. It's those guys right there that'll be interesting to kind of follow, as well as the national guys like Bryson Weber and Malcolm Simpson and TJ Lateef, like I mentioned before. But those guys, there's 8 known commitments that are not from the state of Nebraska that'll be in that weekend. And, when this is on their dime, it just kind of electrifies the whole entire atmosphere and the environment. And obviously, Nebraska's going to want to grab some of those guys and say, we're not just here for you to just kind of enjoy the weekend and being part of this family, because you're going to be signing in 2.5 short months. And, there are some business aspects, with Lateef and Terry, and there probably will be another couple guys, 2026s that they want to kind of get linked up, an offensive tackle with Hammerbeck, a tight end with Bear Tenney, or whatever. You're going to have that kind of pairing and probably have those types of meetings, behind the scenes. But ultimately for those guys, it's going to be come in, enjoy it, get to know some of the players, really still working on your relationships, feel comfortable with what you got going on, and really just look forward to your future. But the 26s and 27s is going to be like, we want to we want to just blow you away. We want you to be just totally overwhelmed, sensory overload with what you're going to see on that Saturday night. But yes, 8 guys without the in-state players that we know already coming in. They're already confirmed on our visitor list on Monday.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about Munson is running back recruiting. They have Jamarian Parker, Connor Booth committed to the class already. It's not so much about those guys. I wonder about the philosophy. I think we've seen a bit of a shift in the way that either Coach Rule or Coach Barthel kind of talks about this over the last few weeks here. I think when they had this plan of, hey, we're going to, obviously they missed out on a couple guys too. Most notably Kawan Lacey in the 24 class. We talked about that before plenty. But they're kind of going to play it this year with the 3, and maybe they want one to emerge. Has the philosophy changed to where it feels like they're going, they're going further into the idea of like, we need a guy who can kind of take over a game, make these extra sort of plays. You never know when these guys are recruits, when they're high school players, that what they're going to turn into. But I feel like I've felt a shift on that, just how Nebraska approaches running back recently.
I totally agree with you. I think Jamarian Parker is a great example of that, right? I mean, they're looking for a home run hitter. And then I think if you kind of take that idea and you kind of take it ahead a year and you look at like a guy like DeZephan Walker, who's from Raymore, Missouri, very similar looking dude, very kind of stick his foot in the ground and make a cut, and he's gone. He's got that speed, and he's got that real quickness and suddenness about the way he plays the position. And also, Nebraska's got a guy named Caden Jones coming in from Jenks, Oklahoma, the weekend of the Colorado game too, 2026 running back, a 4-star guy. But he's also kind of that home run hitting, running back.
Yeah.
It seems to be like, if you were looking at like how you're comprised, right? If you're looking at the skill position players, you have 5-star, quarterback, and I have 4-star tight ends, and I have 4-star, wide receivers. I'm thinking I still need, although I got very, very good guys in the room. I think the guys that have developed and guys that maybe some people overlooked, I still need that, that really one or 2 guys that I need to kind of hang my hat on here, really make things competitive and dial it up enough. Some real all-purpose backs, and those are kind of backs I think that we're seeing right now on the radar for this year and for next year.
I think so too. I think that's a little bit of a shift from what we've seen. I think they have kind of seen that and said, well, maybe it's a bigger philosophy thing of, well, we need to get the best skill position talent around Dylan Raiola that we could possibly get. Like, we have to cash in on the fact that we have a 5-star quarterback right now, and they feel like they have the opportunity to do that.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, they just have never had an ability to ride any type of wave of success with that, just because of when he committed, when he signed, how long he's been there. I mean, the short little window was like a week, and now that you got him there in January, it's like, okay, you brought in some guys, you sold them on the idea. Now he is the starter, and you have this great opportunity to kind of roll him out under the lights and do a few things the first 3 games of the season, to bring some guys in and have them take a look and watch. And obviously, the way that Nebraska released, I thought this was critical, and it was well played by Nebraska, but the release of, Raiola being named the starter and making that over social media, it got picked up by the major news outlets like immediately. It was something obviously that's, if it was just the same guy from the year before or somebody else was already on the roster that was inherited and it wasn't the 5-star recruit, probably wouldn't have gotten picked up. But once it was the 5-star guy from the year before, the number 1 or number 2 quarterback in the nation, it was headline news. And I think that they did the right thing there by kind of trying to even drum up more exposure, for what's going on in Lincoln right now. So they're trying to reach out across the nation clearly by how they did that announcement, and they're getting the right players to kind of visit. And I think that you're going to start seeing how this timeline has kind of impacted Nebraska and how they're going to have to kind of change things up to where, they're a little bit more successful next spring and into next summer.
I was going to say, well, they might have even further reach if you look up at the end of October and there's a little number by their name on the bottom of the screen, or if they're 6-1 or 7-0 or something like that. that will lead to more recruiting reach as well. And I think you cross that bridge when you get there, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one foot after the other right now. Every week is important, but I mean, the Colorado week is something that everybody should be looking forward to. Obviously, there's a number of recruits that we already know about that are, and I expect this list to grow a lot. And it's going to be a very, very important weekend that night in Lincoln underneath the lights.
All right, Munson. Great to chat. As always, you may begin your weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend. Here you go.
Welcome back, brother.
Thanks. That's Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Yeah, like I said, I think I've felt a little better about that. It was one of my big complaints this summer and last spring, or really since Rule's been here. Just their NFL style of like handling the running back room. I just think if you're a college coach and you're trying to win games. Yeah, you don't have to worry about. You care about their futures. You don't want to load them up too much. Obviously, you want to, but it's your job to create the most successful team that you could possibly get. So if you got a really good running back, load him up. Nebraska doesn't have to be the Oakland A's. Like Nebraska doesn't have to Moneyball recreate Johnny Damon in the aggregate here. They don't have to recreate Amir Abdullah in the aggregate. They can go get Amir Abdullah. They're allowed to have a really good running back. And I think that, they expect this thing to really take off. And so they might have some interested parties later down the line who may not have been on the radar and might be interested in those guys. Like, get a good dude. Jamari Parker is pretty good. I'm already pre-factoring him into the backfield next year for Nebraska. So I think there's a little bit of shift there, and it's a good shift, in my opinion. We'll take a break and come back with Brian Christopherson. So we'll go recruiting to young guys. Let's talk about some young guys that are going to get on the field in the news of the week, of course, of Raiola being named the starting quarterback and what to expect as we go on throughout today and the rest of the time before game number 1. BC joins next on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Brian. Brian Christopherson.
I gotta take this. It's Hap.
B-Rye, B-Rooney, drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, I get a hold of BC in a second. He's good. Don't worry. Unless Matt Rule came out to the press conference 15 minutes early, which
seems unlikely.
It does, yeah. He's usually right on it, right? I think, BC just tweeted out a story. So maybe he's just putting the finishing touches on something. Or is it possible that our phone doesn't work?
Yes. I'll call back.
Try again. See what happens. Meanwhile, let me introduce you to a new YouTube commenter to the show. Carlos is here. No, let Carlos express himself. Free speech. Carlos has a variety of different comments on our YouTube page at 1620 The Zone TV. These bunch of rednecks, hillbillies talk so stupid about nothing, always complaining about their incorrect use football team, Nebraska Cornheads. These hillbillies, rednecks, are so excited about Nebraska Cornheads. This redneck's waited 60 years to have a baby. Nobody is coming to the Nebraska Cornheads to play football. I should put all those up on the screen. So, welcome. Welcome to the show, Carlos. We appreciate you being here. Thanks for stopping by. Please sound off in the comments, like and subscribe, and tell us which fan base. I can take a guess or two.
Interesting.
Which team do you root for?
I've got it narrowed down to 2.
Yep, I think I have it narrowed down to 1. Actually.
One has a coach that's going to get fired. One has a coach that is suspended.
One has a school that really likes YouTube and commenting on YouTube things. All right, to the phones of 42 Degrees, the Source Hotline. Caller Brian's here. Hey, Brian.
First time, long time. Glad to be on.
What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just out there practicing in about 25 yards from me, and I'm just minding my own business here in the hallway at the Hawks Champion Center. That's what's going on.
And you're talking about them practicing, or if you know?
Hey,
yeah, that's
Let's be careful how that's perceived. I won't have a press pass any longer. But no, I'm not paying any attention to the practice. My head is looking out at the parking lot.
Okay, good.
The A lot here, full lot. It's hard to get spots now with classes starting up here soon.
Be careful.
Back.
I heard that the ticket people, the people who give out parking tickets really come back around once school starts.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Supposedly this lot by Hawks is an A lot. Now this means nothing to the listener, but that's one pass that's like the best thing I own is a parking pass that has that A lot on it.
Yeah, it's really important.
I value that more than my dogs almost, and I don't say that lightly, but that's about where it sits.
Yeah, they'll get you. That's for sure. If you don't have it, I'm glad you do though. Not playing by the rules. Brian Christopherson of Husker 247 with us. So I wanted to ask you about freshmen that are going to play. Rule mentioned a few. Obviously, we know about Raiola. Carter Nelson will factor into the equation. Vincent Shavers is going to factor into the equation. There's one more obvious one that I'm missing.
Corey Barney.
Barney's obviously going to factor into the equation. I have a sense, BC, that there's more than just those guys who are going to either skip a red shirt this year or be on some sort of like red shirt share program for Nebraska. Do any other names come to your mind as far as young guys who are going to play a role for this team this year?
That's a good phrase to coin. Red shirt share. That's how you can do it. Four here, 4 there. I think Amari Sanders is a name that's really come up multiple times during fall camp. Now, obviously, it seems like Marquise Buford's that corner opposite Tommy Hill. But after that, I think Amari's right there with like Jeremiah Charles and some of those guys. So he would be one. I thought an interesting name that Rule mentioned the other day was Willis McGahee IV, who I didn't by any means, I wasn't under the impression he was having a bad camp or anything. He just hadn't come up as much, partly because Prince Will's at that spot. MJ Sherman at that jack spot. So you have kind of some guys seemingly in front of him. But he got mentioned as someone who could play a little bit too. But I guess what really stands out, if you want to take a theme from the freshmen, it's the Miami crew. I mean, you've got Shavers, Ja'Cory Barney, Amari Sanders, Willis McGahee, and Larry Tarver is a guy they've liked too. He's just had some injuries, I think, that have kind of slowed his opportunity. So it's very possible they could have like 3 of those 5 Miami guys burn a red shirt this year. In fact, I would say it's likely, especially with Barney and Shavers. I mean, those are the 2 lead names. And I just think Barney's going to be a fascinating guy to watch this season, how they use him. Can they use him as a runner as much as a receiver, and some different things you do? And also, can he win like a punt return job at some point in the year?
Yeah, I think you're just, I think about that defensive backfield, and that's where Sanders, a guy like Amari Sanders, comes into play. You just think about the position and the guys that are going to be out there. I mean, the top 5 who are gonna play for Nebraska this year. But there's going to have to be more than that. I mean, there's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys who play back there. So, and basically everybody else who's not on that top group is really young, either a redshirt freshman or a freshman. So if you're just playing the odds, I mean, you got to think a couple of those freshman young defensive backs are going to get in the mix somewhere. It's just kind of finding out who now.
Mm-hmm. Mario Buford could be a guy to watch. He's very much like his brother Marquise, and just a quick study of things, can move around a lot of different spots like his brother. He pops up too. So yeah, you're right. I mean, the secondary, I think there's going to be a true freshman or 2 who probably goes over 4 games. And you hope there's obviously not injuries to anybody in your top 5 on the back end, but we know how it goes. It's a long season, and that's asking a lot. So at some point you're going to need somebody who's a younger player to step up big time. Bly Hill, it's good that he's back. Obviously, he's still a young college player, though. He played 1 year at St. Francis, PA, of college football. So all those guys have a good chance to I would say, carve out space where they're important this year, and then they're kind of setting themselves up for 2025 and beyond too while doing that.
BC, in the wake of the Raiola announcement this week, I really liked your angle that you took on Husker 247, which was like, hey, let's sit back and this is kind of a reason to celebrate. Like, you don't have to throw a parade or put too much wild expectations on the guy, but there's as much confidence for the position right now as there's been. That's just not, by the way, that's not just Raiola. That's the position as a whole as you look at it. For the future. I really thought that was a good angle to take. And I do think there was some celebratory moods going on in the fan base this week after that announcement.
Yeah, I'm as guilty of that as anybody doing what I was writing about, where basically you take an announcement like that and you think like, well, yeah, I knew that was coming. Big deal, like I knew in June or July this was what was going to happen. You have to sometimes step out of the forest, I think, and look at the whole thing and be like, 9-10 months ago, whatever it was, in that December, I guess, when everything flipped, you wouldn't have ever guessed this. Like, Dylan Raiola is going to be the guy here. We were having conversations in early December about, Kyle McCord and like what he could do in a season. And then there was that 2 days where we were talking about like, well, what if you had McCord for a year and he's the bridge to Raiola? And I was like on that.
That would have been awesome.
Speaking that nonsense. And now I think back and I'm like, what a dumb freaking take by me. Like, like think about if like Kyle McCord were here right now.
And Dylan Raiola is sitting on the bench.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, now that you're actually here, you're like, man, that would have been so silly, and what a weird situation. McCord would have thrown, if he started, would have thrown a pick in the first quarter against Colorado. Everybody be chanting Raiola. Anyway, I'm talking about a hypothetical that didn't come true, but we were having those conversations 9 months ago. And so you do need to take a step back and say, it's amazing what all transpired. I always think like in sports, we hold out these ideas like, wouldn't it be awesome if this happened, if this guy hit this home run in this exact spot in this game, you're watching, and rarely does it actually come to be. And then once in a while, you really got to stop when it does and say, this is an awesome story. You've got one of the most watch true freshmen in college football in your backyard. His dad's name is on the wall. And he's going to be taking the first snap on August 31st. And very, very few people have done that at the University of Nebraska. Tommy Frazier didn't even start till the 6th game. So that was my point, is you gotta recognize a milestone, even if a month ago everybody said, yeah, that's obvious that's going to happen. We didn't think that 9 months ago.
Right, exactly. It's crazy to think about when you put it that way. Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7's with us. Just one more for you. So Rule will be talking in a couple minutes, and then he'll talk again on Monday. So we'll have a lot of time to get out whatever question we need to get out. I was interested in what he said last weekend about kind of just. I mean, he was asked how the scrimmage went. He said, well, we got we're a good team because we got a bunch of guys who can execute. I'm paraphrasing. And, I think at that point he was looking for guys to, make some plays. And that's how they're going to kind of get to that next level. Is that what in your opinion, it seems like in his opinion, is kind of missing the unknown for this group? How much further beyond they could take it beyond just, hey, we're going to be out there and we're going to actually do things right. We're going to execute.
Yeah, can you go, defense is a great example. Very solid last year. Everybody kind of patted them on their back. Now, can you go be a defense that just, takes games away yourself? You have that pick six. You have that forced fumble that you're running back. Do you have the type of playmakers that can get home with a 4-man rush? And that's what they've been working at all off season to build that up. And that's the next step for that unit. And then the next part of that is, I think he has talked a lot in recent days about the second team guys. He knows it's going to take a lot of depth this season to get through it and do it the way you want to. And you have to have those guys who are on your second unit who don't really think they're of themselves as I'm a backup. They believe that I should be playing as much as this guy, and I'm going to go show you why. They need to have that mindset from them. I think this is an important few days. He mentioned it on his radio show. There's some guys over right now who are on that field, just by me, who probably found out they're second or third on the depth chart. And when this month began, they hoped they were first, or they were co-number 1 or something. How are those guys going to respond to their current role? Are they going to still stay with the process like you want so that they're ready when their moment's going to come? And I think that's the thing they're really focused on building within their locker room right now.
All right, BC, we'll let you go. Thanks for taking a minute, and thanks for not divulging any secrets from practice. You're a good man.
Yep. I had my back turned down that door the whole time. I want that to be on the record. So, yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Brian. That's Brian Christopherson of Husker 247. That's a stand-up guy. He could have peeked through that window. I know what he's talking about. There's a double door to the field where he's standing in the lobby of the Hawks Championship Center. There's a double door that leads to the field. And on that door is that one of those little slit windows,
okay. Like in elementary school.
Exactly. Just a slit. He could have been watching through the slit of that window and telling us what he's seeing. What he would have seen? Nothing. He wouldn't have seen anything. It's there goes Larry Tarver. There goes Keona Davis. I just saw that. He didn't. No secrets. No secrets.
We appreciate that.
By the way, speaking of secrets, they've been
secrets.
They've just been a little bit more. My sense is when we get with college football coaches, especially we get closer to the season, I think coaches are less likely to divulge real specifics. Now, Rule will talk to you about which player is good and where things stand. He'll talk to you about that all day. But specifically, if they feel like they're going to be pretty good, or if they feel like they're going to be pretty bad, they'll keep it pretty close to the vest, right? Because it's just we're not going to show too much. So, I mean, that'll be a topic next week that we talk about. Mm-hmm. What will we see this week? Are they going to there's this line between getting guys out there. They have to get them reps and they got to put something out there. But how much are you holding back for that game number 2? What are you showing in week 1? What are you not showing in week 1 that you will be showing in week 2? I think it's a real conversation right now, because I think you wouldn't think that way if you didn't feel good from a foundational standpoint about what you were at this point. And I do think they have that. They're just looking for a little something extra. A little something extra.
Just give me a go route on the first play of the game.
That's not happening. That's where the secret
just
comes
one little out route. Just
an out route?
Bomb it. Just bomb it deep.
A go route.
Yes.
A 9 route.
Yes.
Not going to happen. You might get your out route.
Bomb it.
Not that. They're not going to do that.
One play. Just give me one. Just
first play of the game is a handoff to Emmett Johnson for 3 yards.
So
I've already seen the script. The second play.
The script?
Oh yeah. Well, there's a script.
Oh, I know there's a script, but you've seen it?
Oh yeah. I'll tell you exactly what it says.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. First play is a handoff to Emmett Johnson for 3 yards. So it's 2nd and 7. Then they're up to the 28-yard line. They don't return the first.
Sure.
They're up to the 28-yard line.
Why start now?
And it's shotgun. Emmett's to his left. Emmett's to Dylon's left. It's a little RPO. They send Jalen Lloyd or Janiron Bonner, depending on which side of the field it's on, out on a little kind of a bubble, but kind of like an up and out type of thing. Like, so you have your 4-yard pass option, but you also, if the running lane's open, you have that. If Dylon wants to run, you have that. And basically the plan is to be in 3rd and 2.
Sure. Okay.
Yep.
And then
well, I can't reveal the 3rd down play until next week.
Stay tuned to next week's
Stay
Connor
tuned
Happer
for that.
show.
Watch out, Carlos. I know you're a mole for Colorado. So if you want to hear Nebraska's 3rd play and you want to tell Dion about it, better stay tuned next week. All right, back after this with the odd news on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, a couple things here before the odd news. First, an email from John.
Hi, John.
I can give you the script for the entire game.
Oh, no.
Every running play will go to the right, so Raiola could see who's coming around the corner. Every pass play will go to the left because number 69 can't block a fence post. He hates Turner Corcoran. So bad. Also, there's this. Breaking news out of Louisville. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Is this about... Oh, no, never mind. Go ahead.
What were you going to say?
I don't know why I was going to say Rick Pitino. Forgot he's no longer there.
He doesn't coach there anymore.
He's not welcome there anymore.
Oh. This is regarding the officer who arrested Scotty Scheffler. Was this in the odd news today?
No, okay.
Okay.
I did see this. Speaking of the odd news, talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go get my hard copies.
See you later. All right. Josh is leaving. Look at that empty chair. We could do anything right now. Look at it. Look at it. It's just me and you. I could reach over. I could grab some of those buttons. Anyway, so this is from Louisville. So remember when Scotty Scheffler tried to go to a golf tournament? It was one of the majors, right? The PGA Championship, and was promptly arrested.
People forget.
And then there was the whole story about the officer turning in his report, and his pants were destroyed beyond recognition or whatever it was.
Repair.
So we have a little more on this. Javar Downs is the police officer's name. He was one of the three officers who did not turn on their body cams during the Scotty Scheffler arrest.
Totally normal.
Totally normal. Well, he was arrested himself this morning. Once again, I would like to reiterate, there were three separate police officers in the Scotty Scheffler arrest who didn't turn on their body cams. Not weird. Not weird.
Maybe just have those things running 24/7, 365.
Keep those on. Keep the battery in there. But
I'll pay it as the taxpayer. It's fine.
Mr. Downs was arrested this morning because police say he pocketed $4,000 in money that he seized from a suspect being booked into jail. You're supposed to, you take all their belongings and, you put it in a little tray or a baggie or whatever. Okay, we'll save this for you. No, Javar put it in his pocket. He says, I'll be keeping this. He's charged with one count of theft by unlawful taking $1,000 or greater and one count of official misconduct.
Yes, that's just theft. Taking without whatever you said.
After allegedly pocketing money he seized from a suspect he booked into LMDC, Downs himself was booked this morning, and there is his mugshot.
How are everyone's pants?
No report, but $4,000, he could have got himself some nice new pants.
Nice new pants. That's right.
That's for sure. So I think that pretty much clears this up. Scotty Scheffler, good guy.
I mean, good guy.
Yes. Scotty Scheffler's never done anything wrong.
He ruined that officer's pants.
That officer deserved it. He's a thief.
Allegedly.
Well, not really. I mean, I guess there will be some sort of a case or trial on this, but yeah, that happened. Scotty Scheffler, good guy. The ruling is in. Okay, Josh, what do we have today?
We have an update from a game you probably didn't watch much of last night. Amazon Prime. I don't know who the hell was playing. Colts and the Bengals. A little NFL preseason. It's preseason for the broadcasters too. Preseason for the guys in the truck, guys and girls in the truck.
I turned on my Fire Stick and my Fire Stick told me that this was on. That wasn't enough for me.
Oh, okay.
I continued on to Netflix.
Well, while people watching a game may disagree about what the results of a replay review should be, they all have one thing in common. Everyone wants to see the play. This is particularly true if the review in question is a scoring play. But that did not happen for those who watched last night's preseason game between the Colts and the Bengals. Early in the fourth quarter, Colts quarterback Jason Bean.
Oh, yeah. Kansas.
Okay. Scrambled toward the end zone and dove head first with the ball extended toward the goal line. Bean was ruled down by contact, bringing up a crucial 4th down. Replays, though, showed the ball might have crossed the plane before Bean's knee hit the ground.
Bean's knee.
Not to be confused with the bee's knees. Colts coach challenged the play, of course.
Colts coach who, Josh?
Shane.
Come on. They're in your division.
Steichen.
You got it.
Hell yeah. The game went to commercial break during the review. However,
we never saw it.
By the time they came back from review, the review was over and they had ruled it a touchdown.
It's the preseason, Josh. Does it really matter?
Well, how do you think Al Michaels reacted to all this?
Oh, was he complaining?
While you were out in the kitchen, the Colts scored.
I'm surprised they even got Al to do preseason games.
I am too. Legit shocked.
Did they do the whole show afterwards with Mr. Suit Jacket and Hoodie?
Oh, yeah.
Andrew Whitworth,
yeah. I would assume so.
Chris Thompson.
Yeah. Next Prime broadcast.
Faking answers.
Week 2. Bills, Dolphins. Hope everyone's a little bit more prepared.
Bills, Dolphins. That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. We go to Oxford, Mississippi for story number 2.
Come to the SIP.
That's right. There was a truck spill in the SIP this week. A beer truck turned over, unleashing its load all over the streets of Oxford.
Take it easy.
The police would like you to know, college kids in Oxford, your help is not needed. Your help is not required. Your jokes are not funny.
Okay, well, I mean, if you announce to the public that there has been a giant truck spill of beer and I'm in college and I have the ability to get to this place with relative ease, yeah, I'm gonna go check it out. I'm gonna go see what's going on.
There was a
because you're a college kid, you don't care if it's damaged or not.
Right, dented cans are half off.
Everything
right?
you owned is damaged.
Yeah. The Oxford Police Department posted photos on social media while asking drivers and pedestrians in Oxford to stay away. Please use another route, they said, and no, you cannot come help clean up, quote unquote.
What kind of beer?
I believe it was Bud Light.
Interesting.
Odd that the city of Oxford would need so much Bud Light. Interesting.
We're over that, right?
I don't know.
Are we over that as a society? I don't hear people make reference to that anymore.
I don't either.
Okay, that's good.
Never
was a thing to me, to be completely clear.
Okay.
Bud Light is fine.
Bud Light has been and always will be trash. I don't care who's hawking it.
Oh, you hate Bud Light, Josh?
If you hand me one, I'll drink it, but I'm not seeking it out.
Definitely. I prefer Busch Light because I'm a Nebraskan.
That's right. We go to Slovakia for the last story. We don't often go to Slovakia for the odd news.
We don't.
But the Love Stream Music Festival was held over the weekend in Slovakia. Macklemore was one of the headliners. I think they're just getting Macklemore over in Slovakia. They're not sick of him yet like we are. So Macklemore does this thing where he, quote unquote, very spontaneously brings up someone to help him with a song. Only it's not spontaneous at all. It's very prearranged and
it's a famous person.
No, it's a not famous person. It's a normie.
It's a crowd member.
Yeah.
So it's not like a Morgan Wallen walkout situation,
right?
I watched way too many of those.
This person told everyone, "Hey, watch for me to get pulled up on stage by Macklemore over the weekend." And Macklemore pulled this person up on stage.
Did he have some sort of a statement to make?
No, this woman forgot she had an arrest warrant out. So police knew exactly where she'd be and where and when. And
that's not what I thought you were going to say.
No.
I thought you were going to say, I don't know, her boob fell out or something like that. Or she had some sort of a social statement to make. I'm not sure, but nope.
Police revealed in a Facebook statement they immediately got a tip when someone spotted her social media posts. They recognized her from a previous police report.
Narcs!
Yes, quite literally. But everybody was kind of cool about it. They let her do her thing, and then afterwards said, okay, you're coming with us now.
That's kind of a badass way to go.
Yeah.
If you're going to get arrested, I'd probably like to do it after performing at a Macklemore concert.
The specifics of her alleged crimes are still a bit murky, but local reports say she is a 24-year-old bartender who's been dodging a fine for running topless during a 2019 football match in Slovakia while working as a staff member.
And that has grown into an arrest warrant?
Apparently.
Oof.
It's Slovakia.
It's Slovakia. It's definitely different.
The police pants were probably ruined beyond repair while chasing her 5 years ago.
Okay, good. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
Glad everything worked out in each of those locations. The streets of Slovakia are safe.
Once again.
All right. Back after this, we will get into the noon hour. Sipple will join us at the bottom of the hour. I have a question for you all. Question for you. And maybe we could turn this into some sort of long-term contest.
Ooh.
I want your best guess, because I'm curious about the range of guesses that we'll receive with this. How many yards per game will Nebraska rush for this year? I'll give you some context when we return, and I want your guesses. So hit us up, 402-951-1620. Leave a comment. How many yards per game will Nebraska run for this year? That's coming up next on 1620 The Zone. But first, you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, which is America's #1 sportsbook, and how all these great numbers and prices, and you can bet on anything. Well, that's still the case, but now we have something a little extra for you with FanDuel. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. This deal sounds amazing. I don't care about preseason games, but I definitely care about the first 3 weeks of the season. Then, with my YouTube TV base plan, I'm going to be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All that I got to do is have my Google account, which I already have with my YouTube TV, current form payment, cancel anytime, make that $5 bet. It's simple. Do it now with the FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel.com/Happer. Once again, FanDuel.com/Happer. Download America's #1 sportsbook. 21 and over, present in Iowa. Full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds, terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Gambling problem, call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
He gives you the latest sports news, interviews, and life-changing commentary with a smile on his face. Because he wears those ticklish underpants.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Many people coming to the side of Connor Happer.
That's you.
In the case of bacon is overrated.
Oh, wow. This is huge.
It is. I bet you didn't see that one coming, Josh.
There was such outrage at the beginning.
I know it might sound crazy because, once again, you've been duped into thinking that bacon is the best thing. Bacon is so good.
Bacon has a hell of a PR agent.
Bacon, yes. Bacon is like the best marketed thing that we have for how good it is. Yeah, that's the sound of Josh typing up a poll question.
Does bacon have a great PR team? Yes or no?
I like that. So let me get through a variety of different responses that I've gotten here. So
Yeah.
it started off a little sideways. What are you talking about? You don't like trophy games and bacon? What's wrong with you? Then all of a sudden, a few brave souls decided to come to my defense. Austin Jacobson, Matt DeMarinis. And then something interesting happened. More and more, I agree with you, Happer. Thanks for saying this. Thank you for saying the thing that I didn't have the guts to say.
The wind changed on bacon.
Jacob Padilla, accurate. Tom, correct. Husker follower, not that hot of a take. The difference between overrated and bad is occupied many hours of sports radio, and it applies just as much to food. I don't disagree with that. Danny, it's the condiment of meats. It's good, but not as the main meat of breakfast. A breakfast sandwich with the only meat being bacon? No thanks. Ray, Connor has horrible food takes. Having said that, I couldn't agree more.
Whoa.
People's obsession with bacon is weird. Handshake meme.
How's the group feel about chorizo?
The group as in me and you, or just me? Or the group of them?
Everybody, yourself included.
I prefer sausage.
Okay.
It's not because I'm white.
It's not because you're white.
No,
Okay.
it's not because I just prefer it. I think it's better.
Mhm.
What is chorizo, by the way? I'm fine with it. If you say it's a chorizo burrito or whatever, it's fine.
I'd
take that over bacon, for the record.
It's a pork sausage.
Okay. So it's just a spicy, like a really spicy pork sausage?
Yeah,
Or-
there's different.
What's the difference between spicy sausage and chorizo?
I would guess the types of seasonings specifically.
Okay.
There's some generally Mexican spices in there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think you have to do too much with the sausage.
Sal says not big on chorizo. It's primarily fat. Not wrong.
Salsa?
Chorizo.
What did you just say?
Not big on chorizo. It's primarily fat.
Oh, you're not. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought the first word that you said was salsa. I was very confused.
No. Sal on the YouTube
Oh,
channel.
Sal on the YouTube. Not big on chorizo. It's primarily fat. Yeah, it does seem to be extra greasy.
Yeah.
Simone is back.
Hi, Simone.
Sausage over bacon 7 days a week. The bee is overrated. That's what we're gonna start calling bacon. It's another good PR move, probably, to call bacon the bee.
I like that. I'm gonna try and steal that.
Chorizo's fine. I prefer just spicy sausage or sausage
That's
in
fine.
general. That's all.
I just wanted to know. I just want to take the temperature of the room.
I've received 2 texts from Stephen M. Sipple. All right. What do you think? What do you think it says? So
We're still talking.
Rule is about to do his press conference.
I'm jammed up.
And I got to write right after it. He's starting at about 12:15. So he's done. He could have just told me, listen, I can't do it today. I got jammed up. But he wants me to say it. So I will.
Okay.
Sipple, we can punt if you need to.
This was going to be the big reunion between father and son.
You know what's funny? I saw him each of the last 2 weeks.
Sure.
At those practices. And you know what's funny beyond that? he was still texting me. So we would do the open part of the practice, and then I think it was last Friday, I saw him, and we had a discussion about how I wasn't working because I was on paternity leave, and that's why I was at the practice. And then he texted me less than 3 hours later and said, and said, hey, I'm going to be a couple minutes late or whatever. He was trying to relay a message to me as if I was on the show. And it's simple. I'm not on the show. We just talked about this minutes ago. And then I relayed my message to you. No. Okay. He says, Hap, it's just awkward on this one Friday. No big deal. No big deal. Dad. That's what I'll say. Andrew, okay, one more thought on bacon. I'll never turn my back on bacon. When I got COVID and lost my sense of smell, we cooked bacon, and I could faintly smell it. Within a couple days, I had my full sense of smell back. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Bacon saved Andrew.
Well, okay, that's different. Yeah.
I didn't know that bacon had that kind of power.
You got to stand by your man in that.
So the overwhelming smell of bacon powered through the COVID thing and was a big helping hand in getting your sense of smell back. Didn't know it had that power.
Does bacon cure COVID?
Does bacon have healing power? No more bacon poll questions today. No more bacon poll questions.
We've given them enough run.
Yep, indeed. We're just part of the problem now. Okay, question I asked you before break. How many yards per... So no Sipple, by the way. That's where we landed on that.
Sad.
It's just awkward this one Friday. Trust me, it's never usually like this. But I can't ask him about his York signed picture. Maybe I'll text him back. All right.
Get official comment on it.
So we can turn this into some sort of season-long contest. I don't know what we can wrangle up for like a gift at the end of the year, but I would love to play this game because I'm curious to see the range of guesses that we'll get on this question, Josh. How many yards per game will Nebraska rush for this year? In the year of our Lord 2024. For context, Nebraska was second in the Big Ten, 34th in the country last year, with 176.8 yards per game. In 2022, Mark Whipple was their offensive coordinator, and they said, what's running? And they said, bleep it, Trey Palmer down there somewhere, and they ran for 112.5 yards a game.
Okay.
That was 107th in the country.
I'm just going to throw that out. I'm not even going to acknowledge it.
Here's another one you could throw out. 2017. The season had gone sideways. Tanner Lee was the quarterback. What's his name got hurt? Trey Bryant. And everybody knew that they were fired. It was time to huck it, chuck it. I believe Tanner Lee threw it like 56 times one game or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
They ran it for 107.5 yards a game. That was good for 120th in the country. Elsewhere, and we could put these years in context, and then you could make a guess based on which rushing offense this year's rushing offense will most closely resemble. And I'm curious to hear what people think about that. 2021. I thought Nebraska ran it pretty well that year. I thought they were okay. They had a decent offense. They turned the ball over too much, but it was, they went 3-9, throwing the record out, but they were okay. 167 yards a game. And this is with Scott Frost's spread offense with the quarterback who runs it. 57th in the country. 2020, they ran it. They had lost all trust in their quarterbacks, plural, because it was Adrian Martinez and then it was Luke McCaffrey and then it was back to Adrian Martinez. They had no trust in any of those guys in that short season. They ran it for over 200 a game. 201 yards a game.
Oh, okay.
28th in the country. 2019, Frost's second year, over 200 yards, 28th in the country. 2018, Frost's first year, they had a Zigbu. He ran for 1,000 yards. 207 yards a game, 27th in the country. We already talked about 17. And the other year that I would like to, I guess I'll just point out the other two. 2016. All right. This is the year that I have compared this season to a couple times, this upcoming season. Now, they did have a running quarterback in Tommy that year, but they wanted to keep the ball on the ground. They wanted to keep it out of harm's way, win the game by a point, and get out of Dodge. And that's what they did for the first 7 games of the season. They were 7-0. Nebraska was 68th in the country at 169 yards a game.
Kind of nice.
Rushing. Yeah. 68th in the country. Don't pay no attention, by the way, to the ranking. It doesn't matter because there's 40 teams who run it every play. Like it doesn't apply. Basically 170 yards a game. 15, 180, and 14. This number might jump out to you. They ran it for 244 yards a game.
What?
Why could they have run it for 244 yards a game? I wonder. Well, because Bo Pelini was their head coach and Amir Abdullah was their running back.
Yeah.
In 2014. That was 15th in the country. That's about as high as Nebraska's probably going to go in the modern era. So I had a number in my head of something that I thought would be good for this year's team. A number that I thought would be good, considering everything, considering what they did last year. I don't know how much of what they did last year actually means in this conversation. We'll discuss that in a second. But looking at their running backs, looking at their offensive line, projecting what they'll do in the pass game, knowing their offensive coordinator, knowing how their defense is going to be good, all of those things matter in an output like this. The number that I came up with in my head is 160.
Okay. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to write this. I'm going to keep track of this.
160 yards per game. And I think they'd be happy to get to that mark. And you'll say, Happer, what? They're going to only run it for 160 yards a game? That's not, I mean, last year that would have made you finish in the, bottom. Gosh, I could pull it back up now. I had it this morning, but it would have made you finish like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, stuff like that in the country. That's not very good. Well, the bulk number isn't very good, but it's never about the bulk number. It's about yards per carry. And once again, Nebraska, for the first time in a long time, is not going to have the quarterback run game to lean on. You will take that out. I imagine a lot of those numbers that formerly were, and last year's a bad example of this because it was just so screwed up last year. But you could go back to when Adrian was here. A lot of those numbers that were allocated to the quarterback run game, and that's viewed in the run game as extra, right? For Nebraska, it ended up being much too primary, far too primary, which tanked the Scott Frost tenure, that and several other things. But you think they're going to have, 40, 50, 60, 100 yards per game in the quarterback run game category. They're not going to have any this year. I mean, they're going to have not very many at all. If any, it might be 0 with sacks for Dylan Raiola. I think he'll probably get a couple rushing touchdowns, but he will not have very many yards on the ground. All of those yards that are missing are going to be displaced somewhere. Maybe a couple places. Into the pass game. Into the running back run game, the traditional run game. If Nebraska is good at passing the ball the way that we think they're going to be good at passing the ball, they should be able to run the ball efficiently enough. It's not going to run for 200 yards a game. This is back to the conversation that we were having yesterday about expectations on Dylan Raiola. He walks into such a vastly different situation than any other five-star of his era walks into. And I think Nebraska in particular is in a, it's not unique to run a pro-style offense, but it's unique to Nebraska how they're going to get their yards, how they're going to do it. As long as you can remember, well, not as long as you can remember, but because we often hear from people who remember the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. I got season tickets in 1978. We often hear from those people.
Often.
But, for the last 10, 12 years, whatever it's been, especially since Amir Abdullah, I like post Callahan, whatever, they've had the quarterback run game. And in most of those years, from like 2010 on, Taylor Martinez era on, they've featured the quarterback run game. Not like, it's Saturday Night Live featuring the quarterback run game. No, those guys are the main cast, the main characters. Quarterback run game. It's not there anymore. So Nebraska's going to run it for less yards this year. I feel confident about that.
I would agree.
I feel very confident about that. Now, where you really get into you get into the real weeds from last year. Here's what you need to keep in mind. Nebraska was 128th in the country in pass yards per game last year. They were just 17 yards better than Iowa.
Hell yeah.
Who could have very easily just not put a quarterback on the field if they wanted to.
Whether you win by an inch or a mile, winning's winning.
128th in the country, 136 yards per game in the pass game. They're going to have a lot more there. Nebraska's offense will be better this year. But as Matt Rule said a long time ago, Nebraska will not be a place where they're going to have a top 10 offense in the country. I just want to make sure people understand that. I want to make sure people know that going into the season. So when we start yelling about how Dylan can't do this and the running backs can't do this and the offensive line can't do this, understand that it's hard. You want Nebraska's offense to look functional. But where it will rank at the end of the season, or hell, in the individual weeks, I know we like going through the comparables for both teams. What are they ranked in rush yards per game? What are they ranked in? Nebraska will not rank high there. You will not say about any part of Nebraska's offense from a bulk yards perspective, Nebraska has one of the best blank in the country. They won't in terms of yards. It's going to be more about the personnel. And then getting to these individual kind of like flagpoles and barriers of like, oh, okay, we got a first down, we got a touchdown, like being functional and efficient. I just want people to know that. Their offense is not going to be very good if you're looking at bulk numbers and matching it up against everybody else in the country.
Not good.
No. Yeah, I'll say it out that way. All right, let's go to the responses here that some of you guys have before we get to a few things that Matt Rule had to say.
And my number as well.
Oh, go ahead, Josh. Your number.
I'm for similar reasons, I'm going 150.
Lower
than you.
Lower.
I don't like the backs.
I don't either, but I don't think it definitely matters. And I was almost just going to say it doesn't matter. I just am counting on Nebraska's pass game to open up things in the run game.
I hope that's the case. Not that 150 is like terrible. It's not dog bleep, but
no, I mean, look at what NFL teams do. Like, no, there's no NFL teams that run for 200.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it just doesn't, like, you know, if 150 is incredible.
Florida State ran for 150 last year. Like,
not that bad.
They won almost every game they played.
The bulk yards don't really mean that much. Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Rush yards per game, 165. Can they run the ball good enough to protect Dylon? Josh writes in.
Hi, Josh.
Last year they ran for, I mentioned on Twitter that last year they ran for 176.8, which was top 40 in the country. Josh says, I'd look in the same ballpark, but will look significantly different with the little to no production from the quarterback run game. See, that's why I don't think it's going to be the same number. That's why, I mean, ballpark depends on what your ballpark is. How big's your ballpark? Mm-hmm. Is it Yankee Stadium or is it Kauffman Stadium? Like, because if being in the same ballpark is 20 yards away, I actually don't think that's the same ballpark. That's a pretty vast difference in yards per game. So, no, I think they will. I mean, I can pretty much guarantee this. They're going to run for less yards than they did last year per game. Lock that in. That's easy.
Ryan in the chat says
they might pass for double.
169 a game.
I mean,
We've logged that.
If we get close to 170, they're gonna be really freaking good. Like really good.
Hello.
I'm serious. Like if they get close to 170 or like even above 160, like I set my number high because I think that's a really good bar to like have out there. If they're up above that rush yards per game, they're going to be really good. If they're at 170, they're going to win like 10 games.
Whoa.
Yeah, like if they can depend on that run game.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yippee 157.9. Please archive my guess. We have logged.
Are we writing these down?
I have a Word doc.
Josh writes in, he says, I don't think Nebraska can win more than 7 if they run it for under 160 a game. This is still the Big Ten. Well, I mean, let me come up with a couple things to prove that wrong. I mean, there's always Iowa. Iowa does it in a vastly different way. Iowa, over the last several years, has not been very good in this category. I wonder how high they ranked last year. Iowa we already told you what they passed the ball for. Iowa ran it for 116.8 last year, 103rd in the country. How many games they win? 10?
100?
All of them? I don't know. So it's not about that. I'm like, so that's another really great point to drive across, I think. People love to talk about how the Big Ten is run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. It's not. This conference is about not screwing up. I can't emphasize this enough. This conference, and especially how it was in the Big Ten West, it's about being functional. It's about not screwing up. You know what, Iowa sucked at every part of offense last year, but they didn't turn it over. They were statistically horrible in every single category. Their personnel was bad. Their output was bad. All of it was bad, but they didn't turn it over. Too much, you know? They had a horrible quarterback who they didn't let do anything because they're scared if he did, he would turn the ball over. Right?
116 rush yards per game for Iowa last year, sandwiched between Georgia Southern and Florida Atlantic.
Not great. So let me look at, I don't want to pull up margin. I want to pull up giveaways. Giveaways per game. Where do we think Iowa ranked there?
Very low. Colorado, worst rush yards per game in the nation last year, 68.9.
Iowa was number 12 in the country with less than 1 turnover per game. So they turned it over less than 13 times last year. Whatever that number ended up being. I hate this website because it gives you per game numbers. CFBstats. Our teamrankings.com. And that's it. I mean, that's what this conference is about, man. It's like run the ball. You got to run it for high output. Like, yeah, if you want to look at Ohio State, of course they're going to run it. Like, they get bored. They're like, I'm bored. Let's run for 200 today. Let's run for 250 today. Let's run for 450. I mean, somebody else made a point earlier, like, hey, we're getting into some of these early season non-conference games, and Nebraska might be pretty efficient. I agree with that. But then when you get into conference play, they might be running it for like 98 yards a game, and you're like, what happened? It's not that bad. It's about not turning the ball over. Okay, we'll log some more of your guys' guesses if I can collect them all during the break. Also, we'll jump into some things that Matt Rule has said. What did he say about Heinrich Harburg today?
Heine?
Yeah.
He's talking Heine?
He's got some Heine talk.
Okay.
Coming up on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. But a reminder that 1620 The Zone and Liberty First Credit Union Arena presents Ralston Days. Sponsored by Liberty First Credit Union and all of our stations here at NRG Media. That is next weekend, August 30th through September 2nd, in the Liberty First Credit Union Arena parking lot. Free admission, carnival rides, music, food, trucks. Should be a fun time. Please come out and join us and find out more information on our website, 1620thezone.com.
Upon further review, the host point is good. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Matt Rule.
I know him.
Nebraska coach Matt Rule says he has a very old and a very young team at the same time.
That's impossible.
At the same time. And twins. It's like I'm talking to two different teams, he said. That's definitely true. There is.
It's probably not great, though.
You don't think it's a good thing?
I don't know.
I actually think it's a very good thing.
I guess the olds can teach the youngs. This is what it's expected of you.
I just think, think about it. All of Nebraska's players, like if you get it down to 22 or 35 or whatever it is, the guys who are going to be on the field, offense, defense, play significant roles for them, they're pretty much all old. There's a few young guys that are going to mix in there. There's not going to be anything expected of too much of them, with the exception of Dylon. Well,
because he spits hot fire.
You're not playing Carter Nelson because you need to. You're playing Carter Nelson because you want to.
We can offset any mistakes you make with these veterans.
And in the case of Vincent Shavers,
hearing that name a lot lately.
You're that's one where the lack of depth, you're probably playing him more because you need to, but I think he would have been playing anyway. You wanted to play him, and now it just so happens that he has to step into a bigger role with an injury.
I hear he's good.
I heard he's good too. We're hearing the same things, Josh.
Wow, imagine that.
Very interesting. Nebraska coach Matt Rule says Dylan Raiola won the starting job because he puts all the pieces in play with arm strength, run checks, RPO game, and he's improved his pocket footwork.
Because I spit hot fire.
Rule says he showed Raiola 60 reps of Tom Brady on platform. Not running and jumping and doing other things with his crazy feet. We don't want to turn him into Crazy Legs Chubba. That's what we don't want.
Or that guy from Illinois.
Which guy from Illinois?
Or was it Purdue?
What?
Crazy Legs. They nicknamed him Crazy Legs.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember this. Is this from last year?
Maybe 2 years ago.
I always called Chubba Crazy Legs Chubba. Chubba would bail out at any given opportunity. He's like, I'm running. I'm going. He's like, you're not that fast. And then it turned out in the Wisconsin game, he kind of was pretty fast. How did the starting quarterback news sit with the other quarterbacks in the room? Matt Rule, this is from Sam McEwan.
Devin Mockabee, Purdue running back. Crazy Legs.
They called him Crazy Legs?
Yeah.
Wow, good pull. I don't remember that. Matt Rule said he told Heinrich Harburg the quarterback news first. Heine, sit down.
We got to talk.
And then he told young Daniel, my brother. Kalen. And then he didn't even tell Dylon. He just found out walking onto the practice field because Nebraska had released the Twitter graphic. Is that weird?
A little bit, but also kind of feels a little pranky. Like, hey, let's not tell him, guys.
Matt Rule asked about what kind of role young Heine can play as the number 2 quarterback. He says he could do a lot of things, but mostly he said Heinrich is the number 2 quarterback. Kalen coming on is number 3, but obviously they like young Daniel a lot. Heinrich Harburg is a Cornhusker. He's a Nebraska guy. He's taken a big jump from last year to this year. They do love talking about how cool Heine is. They love a good Heine, from what it seems.
Good for them.
Heinrich is a Cornhusker. He's a Nebraska guy. He's for this team. I think he understands how well Dylon has played. He also understands how the season goes. So they're keeping Heine warm.
When did they tell young Jalen? Or old Jalen, I guess.
I think old Jalen, tiny baby Jalen. I assume that he kind of just figured it out.
It's not going to be you, son.
I don't think they probably would have told him.
Or they got to tell him.
I don't think they would have had to sit him down and have a hey, look, Jalen, I know you came here from Northwestern College in Iowa looking to be the starter over a 5-star quarterback. But
the player of the year, damn it.
And you just got here a month ago. I'm sorry to tell you, it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. No, but I don't think he had any expectations that there would be much time in the field for old Jalen this year. Tiny baby Jalen. Rule said he felt, this is from Brunson's notes. Rule said he felt all along that Raiola could be the starter. He said the problem with that was that at times Heinrich Harburg and Daniel Kalen could have also done that. With Raiola, Rule said he worked hard to clean up his footwork in the pocket and has a full understanding of run checks and calls. Dylan has worked so hard on his pocket presence. It could be a very common problem for a freshman quarterback to just bail, try and make throws that frankly he could have made and completed last year in high school.
Right.
I think one of the most intriguing things about Dylan is, obviously he has the crazy arm strength and all, like the talent is off the charts. You know what his touchdown interception ratio was last year in high school in a very high class in Georgia? And by the way, it's not like he threw for a billion yards. He threw for 2,800 yards last year in high school.
Oh,
yeah. His touchdown interception ratio last year was 34-1. He threw one interception.
To one.
He does not based off of his high school tape, he does not put the ball in harm's way. He makes good decisions.
I mean, how long do you think that's been drilled into his head by the extra coaching and his father?
Dad and godfather?
Yes.
What's that, Matt Stafford? You played with Clayton Kershaw in high school?
Don't turn the ball over.
Yeah, 100%. This is a guy from all, from every angle we can find, doesn't just have the talent. He has a really good understanding of how to play the position.
He's got a brain.
He's got a brain. He can make it, but it's not like some guys have that, but they just can't process things fast enough. Like the decision making is just in there, There's going to be mistakes. He's going to throw interceptions. He won't go 34-1 this year. I don't think. That'd be pretty sick, though.
That would be sweet.
That'd be awesome. Rule said the starting kicker likely won't be known until later in the week. Rule said he's concerned about kicker, but said the kickers have been making the kicks in practice. Rule said that Tristan Alvano is about 90%, but noted there's a difference between 90 and 100. Guys, I think I said this earlier in the show. The kicker of the first game is John Hull.
There it is.
I don't know if that will be reflected on next Monday's depth chart, which we're going to have big depth chart overreaction on the show on Monday.
Hell yeah, brother.
But Nebraska's the first kicker that will be kicking field goals for Nebraska this year at extra points will be John Hull.
There's literally zero reason to rush
why would you
Tristan back.
Why would you do that? It's gonna be John Hull. If they feel good enough about him, they're gonna put him out there. Rule said they won't burn Kalen's redshirt year on mop-up duty. It said if there are injuries, they can win games with him. But Heine is the number 2 quarterback entering the season, so they're going to keep the redshirt on Kalen, which makes a lot of sense. You want to create that year of separation between Raiola and Kalen. Do that whole thing. Rule says he loves what the players from Miami have brought. They have to constantly tell Ja'Cory Barney to slow down. He says Vincent Shavers and Amari Sanders are dedicated workers and are working to improve. They'll hold a mock game on Saturday. Rule also says he wouldn't mind playing a game overseas. He says he likes neutral site games and was one who pushed to play Cincinnati in Indianapolis. Josh.
Have you had the cocktail sauce?
When he was at Baylor, Rule said he wanted to play a game in Mexico.
This guy's picking weird spots for neutral games.
Guy's got thoughts. He's got takes on stuff.
Arrowhead. I know it's being used this year. Like I get it, but later down the line.
Doc asked a question about Dylon's tape.
What's up, Doc?
Based on which high school tape? He's been to like 5 high schools.
People forget.
That is true. That is definitely true. I was talking about last year when he was at Buford, Georgia. That's all.
Did he win games?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of them. I don't know. I don't think they won the state title.
Wow.
I think we would have heard about that probably. I don't think they won the state title.
No rings.
Heinrich Harburg, this is from Happer's meme guy.
Hi, Happer's meme guy.
Heinrich Harburg for Matt Rule is starting to feel more and more like the term fetch in Mean Girls. Matt Rule sure does try to keep making Heinrich Harburg happen. I don't know how much of it is disingenuous. I like I've said all camp, I think they're trying to approach it with a level of carefulness, right? I think Heinrich Harburg is the type of guy that they love.
Right.
He's a guy who says yes. He jumps into situations when he's needed. He's a homegrown kid. You know, as he said, he's a Cornhusker, right? They want to do everything they can to respect him. With that being said, if Nebraska had to spend, if Nebraska, in an unfortunate situation, had to pick another quarterback to be the quarterback the rest of the season or something like that, I don't think it'd be Heinrich Harburg. They might give Heinrich Harburg a chance. You know?
We before me.
And I do think for as close to the chest as they're trying to play this one, I do think we'll see Heinrich Harburg used in different roles this year. He's not going to go and be in the wide receivers room. He's not going to go and be in the he'll still be in the quarterback room. Mm-hmm. But I think they'll bring him in situations where they feel like they can make some stuff happen with him, make a splash play, something like that. Yeah, I think we will see that. They don't want to talk about that because why would they tip their hand on that? That's special stuff. But yeah, I think they've approached it with, in a really, really careful way. And that's out of respect to him for sure. All right, we'll come back. More to come. You guys have thoughts, and we have more of them. Still some things throughout the week that we haven't got to. Also, practice predictions coming up on the show as well. So many things as we get you out of here on a Friday. The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Red Out Week! We should just put that in the liner. Red Out Week!
Red Out Week!
Red Out Week is on, baby. We're knee deep in it. Next week we'll be waist deep in it.
Thick of it.
And then we'll be breast deep in it. And then it'll be over our heads by next Thursday.
Be drowning in red.
Celebrate the first game of the year with us. The Red Out Week will conclude with our roundtable lunch at Oscars at Lakeside next Thursday, August 29th. It's brought to you by Union Bank and Trust, and then, of course, Oscars as well. If you need more details, you can find it on our website, 1620thezone.com. It's always one of the most fun hours of the year when everybody gets together, and we bounce our 8 months worth of takes off of each other. Or if it's last year, we just talk about Eric Gilbert the whole time. Stupid. That was so dumb. No, actually, we had a resolution to that by that point, didn't we?
How many of us will say 7 wins? How many of us will say 8 wins?
That's what it's all about. My guess would be every single person on air here.
No one's a 6-6 boy,
no,
right?
Is anybody a 9 guy?
I don't know. I'm gonna bet not. Actually,
are we waiting? Are we holding? Are we gonna have a big unveiling of what our win totals are gonna be? Because I am currently a 7 guy.
As am I.
I'm currently a 7 guy. Well, we can't both be 7
I know.
guys.
One of us has to move.
Is somebody gonna be a 9 guy? Well, I know who the most likely outside of the 7-8 category is.
Josh Peterson, because he hates Nebraska.
No, Nick Grimm, because he's a contrarian.
That doesn't count.
He's either going to say, "Nah, I don't get it, 5 and 7," or, "You know what? I actually like this guy, 10 and 2."
Everybody's saying it's going to be 7 or 8, so it's absolutely not going to be 7 or 8.
Yeah. I wonder, the over-under for that is like a half. 1620 zone personalities who don't guess either 7 or 8 wins. That's really where we've zoned down on. No pun intended.
We know Jimmy's a 10-win boy. Jimmy Allen.
Jimmy Allen.
Yes.
Yeah. Do we know that?
Has he backed off of that yet?
Has he said that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Where was I?
Having a baby.
Fathering a child. Okay. All right. Wasn't there for that. Like to poke some holes in that one, but we'll get there. Cody writes in on the text line.
Hi, Cody.
When is this really famous special guest joining the Happer Show today? Great question. Josh, you're the producer.
Well, we've got this person locked down. We've handed out the bracelets for the people, and can't wait to see the look on all of your faces when this megawatt superstar shows up to Happer Show today.
So famous that we were worried that if we put him on the show manifest, which of course we have, that it would just get too out of control and get away from us. So we have to keep it a secret.
You got to keep it a secret. Yeah. We can't let anyone besides the essential parties know who this person is. Also, this person has asked for secrecy as well. Like they don't want everyone knowing they're going to be here, because then the building gets bombarded with fans.
Is this the same person that likes to be delivered to their concerts in giant boxes?
Boxes?
That's how Taylor Swift goes to her concerts. They put her in shipping containers. Have you seen this?
I don't think I have.
When they transport her from place to place inside these massive stadiums, she goes inside of giant containers.
Okay.
And then they roll
push her around.
And then they roll her around.
Huh.
Yeah. And everyone already knows. Like, this is already, it's a better off deal than just walking her around. She would get absolutely slammed.
Trust me, it's the best way to handle it. I know as the audience, you want answers as soon as possible. You will have them when, again, this megawatt superstar is ready to reveal their face.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
Max writes in on YouTube.
Hello, Max.
There should be a record prediction for the first 7 games, too. Interesting. That's fun.
I think that's actually more fun than the overall win total.
We chunky the predictions.
But 2 chunks. Just 2 chunks.
Just 2 chunks. Okay. So let me think about this. I am a I am a 5-2 for 7 guy right now.
Samesies.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate for this show.
It really is. We should unveil our picks at a table full of people.
Somebody else
there will be different.
come into the show all season long, so I have somebody to argue with. Josh is just gonna be like, "Yeah, I like this. I like this. I like this."
The Happer's got good takes.
Let me we'll talk about. We'll make our predictions for the weekend coming up momentarily. The Royals might pop up in there. I have a nice story for. This isn't just for baseball fans. This isn't just for Royals fans. We oftentimes in this country talk about the loss of the American neighborhood. Where has it gone? Why aren't the kids outside until dark anymore, until the street lights come on, and then mom yells out the front window, "Come back inside, it's getting dark, sweetie." Why doesn't that happen anymore?
Great question.
Well, Salvador Perez, my dear, sweet boy, Salvador Perez, is making sure that this part of America stays intact. He was driving around. He lives in suburban Kansas City on the Kansas side.
They always do.
And the Royals had a rare off day yesterday in Kansas City. They'll be hosting the Phillies this weekend. They were back from, they were in Kansas City this week playing the Angels. And so Salvi was about town and he was driving around, maybe going home. And so while driving through a Kansas City, Kansas neighborhood, Salvador Perez spotted something that he loved. Little kids playing wiffle ball. And guess what Salvador Perez did? He pulled over his car, jumped out, and asked the 9-year-olds, "Can I play with you?
You want to see me sock some dingers?
Can I play wiffle ball with you?" The kids, according to the Kansas City Star, were initially puzzled, but then 9-year-old Cameron Lard yelled out, "Guys, that's Salvi!" One of the boys called his father, and Cameron ran inside and cried out, "Salvi freaking Perez is in the backyard." Cameron's
No, it's not, son.
Yeah, give me a break. One of your friends got a Salvador Perez jersey. Cool. Nope. And then Salvi's in the backyard.
Hey, Dad. You got any juice boxes?
Cameron's mom, Leslie Lard, shared a video on social media of Perez playing in her family's backyard. Her name is Lard. I can't do anything about that.
Leslie Lard is an objectively funny name. I'm sorry.
It's gonna be my like if I ever needed an alias.
Booking in a hotel.
Yeah.
Put it under Leslie Lard.
Vinny Pasquantino told a good story about how he
wants the points or something.
He doesn't use an alias when he goes to the hotels because he wants the rewards points.
I'm doing the travel and I want those miles.
Because they apparently told Bobby Witt Jr. that he couldn't have the rewards points because he had used an alias. It wasn't under the right name. And well, the follow-up was like, "Hey, you're Bobby Witt Jr. Can't you just say, hey, I'm Bobby Witt Jr. Can I have some rewards points?" And he's like, no, they didn't give it to him. So Vinny doesn't use an alias at the hotels. He just uses Vinny Pasquantino so you get the points. Great story.
Travis, when booking our travel this year, tell Reese to book me as
Leslie Lard.
Leslie Lard.
Yeah, you know what guy that is. Leslie Lard said, quote, "It's just unbelievable. We actually have a Kansas City Monarchs player, the local independent league baseball team, that lives with a host family in our neighborhood as well. He came and played with the boys a few weeks ago. These guys are really living." And we couldn't believe that. Thought it was the coolest thing. And then this happens, and it's just like, I don't know. Salvi is just another level, you know? Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
I mean, people outside of Kansas City know Salvi. I was trying to tell people that aren't Royals fans, he's the Patrick Mahomes of the Royals. Like, he is the Royals. So I still don't really believe it. If we get a picture, then I probably wouldn't. If we didn't get a picture, I probably wouldn't believe that. Leslie, more quotes from Leslie Lard. I mean, this is awesome. This is fantastic. First of all, what a guy. And I don't know. This is the absolute dream. That's
what it's all about,
if
right?
you were a kid in the back, now in the back of your head, you're always prepared for this possibility if you're 9 years old.
They have talked about that
Yes.
moment a million times with each other before it happened.
You're 9. You're like, if Salvador Perez was here, or, you know, like I would juice this one right by Salvador Perez. No, but Salvador Perez isn't even hitting this thing. There's a video of him swinging the wiffle ball bat in the backyard. It looked like a pop-up to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was
kind of got out in front of it.
I was playing wiffle ball last night with my son, and I got the itch to just really uncork one.
And?
Hit it over the house. My wife was like, why did you?
You're like Hito.
Why'd you do that? And I flipped the bat like I was, you know, insert name of player here. Like I was proud of myself.
Marcelo Zuna.
Yeah, I have no comment. A lot more players on that team I have no comment about all of a sudden.
With Merrifield.
No comment.
Oh, he's fine. He just wasn't interested in the vaccine that one time.
They forced him to get it. It's fine now.
Yeah. No, they didn't.
He got traded to Toronto.
Oh, that's right.
He had to get it.
That's right. The Royals didn't force him. They traded it. Leslie Lard said, they'll be telling everyone at school today. My son said that no one will believe him, so I sent the picture to his teacher so that way she could show it in the class and that it actually happened. Salvador Perez making memories in the American neighborhood. You love to see it. It's almost like this team's got some good vibes to it right now.
Interesting. Some good karma.
Maybe some good karma coming their way.
Hello.
Doc writes in.
What's up, Doc?
When you use an alias to book a hotel room, don't you still have to use a credit card? I'm assuming it's a business credit card because you don't use a personal credit card, right? Because your name would be on it. I have no idea how that works.
I would actually
I have no idea how that works.
No one would be interested in this aside from like you and me. I would love to have like a traveling secretary, like from like George's position on Seinfeld on the show. Like, what is your job? What does it entail?
Like what?
How far out are you booking? Whose card are you
What
using?
do the players have to do when they get to the hotel? They don't have to check in.
Right.
They just have to grab their keys and go, right? It's like no one ever knew. They know that the room is reserved for a player.
Uh-huh.
And I guess they have to probably know which players stay in what room.
Are Salvi and Bobby getting the suites and everyone else is?
Yeah, do they have to pay? I mean, does Bob's $300 million contract guarantee him a suite on the road?
It's not like when the Iowa Western football buses pull up to the hotel and they stay seating, don't get up, and they have to check in 150 people.
I would listen to that too. I
don't think anyone else would be interested in it.
Probably not. By the way, the people have found Leslie Lard on Twitter at librarian Les L. Mama to Cam, Gingy, and Pepper Potts. Number one Royals fan, librarian, ice cream lover, JT fanatic. What's so funny?
Just, hey, tell me what white people like.
Leslie
I love Justin Timberlake, my dog, Pepper Potts.
Yeah.
And
Salvador Perez found he really found he found the white suburban wiffle ball game, the best one that he could. All right. Back after this, we'll come back. Don't forget our practice predictions coming up still during this show today. Any more thoughts that you have? And a story from yesterday regarding the mob, potentially.
Whoa, the mob.
Next on
We're shaving points?
1620 The Zone. Josh is asking me questions about Chris Sale. What?
Well, he can win the pitching Triple Crown.
ERA, wins, and strikeouts.
Yes.
I believe.
And Marcelo Zuna, who I have no opinions about, leads the National League in batting average?
Imagine where you'd be without great people like Chris Sale and Marcelo Zuna, Josh. You'd be so sad right now.
Sub 500.
If not for those guys. So I think you owe them a nice gift. Something like that.
That's why I have no opinion on them. Instead of opinion.
I'm glad you don't have opinion.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to hear that opinion on this radio show.
Nobody else would either.
Hey, so while I was gone, this took me more than an entire day, basically. All of a sudden, I started knocking this out at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And I took a couple breaks. I got up. I went to the bathroom. I ate. Whatever. All of a sudden, it was 7 o'clock, and I was still doing this one night. I have totaled up all of the snap counts for the Huskers last year.
Okay.
I'm not sure why I started this.
A lot of returning production.
Yeah.
Most in the Big Ten.
Yeah. It wasn't so much that. I don't know why I really started. Maybe I had a hypothesis, and it was surrounding this idea. So here was the craziest thing that I found. First of all, I mean, Ben Scott played 99% of Nebraska's offensive snaps last year. Bryce Benhart played greater than 99% of Nebraska's offensive snaps last year.
Feels like a lot.
So those were the two leading snap getters on offense last year, just in terms of percentage. You know who was third? You know who played the third greatest percentage of snaps out of everyone who played football for Nebraska last year on offense? Think about your best players, right? Who are some of your best guys? You want them on the field all the time. In Nebraska's case, it was Alex Bullock last year.
Don't love that.
Alex Bullock played 80% of Nebraska's offensive snaps last year.
80?
79.65 according to Pro Football Focus. 599 out of 752 total snaps last year. That is best by far out of anybody who's not an offensive lineman. By far. Next was Thomas Fedoni, who played.
That would have been my guess.
4% of Nebraska's offensive snaps.
But we don't talk about him on the radio.
We don't?
Well, he'll shush you.
Oh. No, we talk about him in good ways on the radio.
Okay.
Nebraska's running back split weren't like this. Now, remember, they had a lot of weird stuff going on last year. I think the one thing that I learned by doing this, like the big picture thing that I learned by doing this, was we do not talk about enough. Yes, we talk about how Nebraska's offense was ass last year. It was so bad. But we don't talk about enough how injured it was. If they were bringing back all the same people and were doing all the same things, didn't add Dylan Raiola, didn't add Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nair, I don't think we'd be very high on the offense, but we'd be trying to excuse it, and it would be a very easy excuse. They were hurt last year. Marcus Washington got hurt early. And then they were playing freshmen, Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd, and those guys flashed at the end of the year. Billy Kemp was in and out the whole year. Billy Kemp, remember Billy Kemp, tiny baby Billy Kemp?
I do.
Billy Kemp only played 33% of Nebraska's offensive snaps last year.
33.
Running backs. Remember, they started off the season with Grant, and then he got a little fumbly. And then Irvin kind of took over, and then he got hurt. Ramir got hurt.
Ramir. Combined,
Gabe Irvin, Ramir Johnson, who we both expect to be two big factors in this year's backfield, combined, they played just 20% of Nebraska's offensive snaps last year. Grant played 20%. Emmett Johnson ended up playing 40%. And then Fleeks kind of picked up the rest. Remember Fleeks? He had the one touchdown against Michigan. I was like, oh man, great. Fleek scored. It was 45-0.
He was really on fleek.
Oh, well, there he goes. Well, look, he's flying. Phone's ringing, Josh.
Oh,
it's not anymore. Quarterback wise, Harburg ended up playing 60% of the season, and then the other two split the other 40%, basically. 19% for Sims and 19% for Chuba, which is not surprising based on what we know about just the games that they played. I mean, I think that is the thing that is really notable going into this year. So, like I said, you would look at this team and you would say, oh, wow, they bring a lot back. They were really bad last year, but they bring a lot back and they're healthy. And then let's just say they would have added Banks and Nair, Take Dylan Raiola out of the equation. Hell, you could even take McCord out of the equation. Like, let's just think, all right, it's going to be Heine, Kalen. Maybe we'd have a full-blown quarterback battle at this point. But they got Banks and Nair, so they improved the wide receiver room. I still think you'd be looking at this offense and you'd be saying, oh, wow, I can see where they actually ended up being pretty good this year. They were so beat up last year.
We'd talk ourselves into it.
Absolutely, we would. So think about that next time you say, well, I guess it just depends on how good Dylan is. It's really not. It's really not. Like, if we're looking at that at the end of the year and we're like, oh, Dylan Raiola was really, he's pretty fine this year. Like, he was a game manager. I think that'd be fine for Nebraska. I think they'd pull off a lot of wins doing exactly that. And also it underscored how many different people they played on defense and that defense has now gotten notably deeper with guys who are coming back for another year. I mean, for as much as we talk about the linebackers with, they don't have Reimer and Henrich this year, neither of those guys played more than 50% of Nebraska's snaps last year on defense. Hurt. They were hurt. Bullock ended up playing 50%. Like, really nobody on the defense at all played more than 50-60% of the time, with the small exception of Ty Robinson, who played 69% of the snaps.
Nice.
Nash Hutmaker played 62% of the snaps. But everybody else, it's role players. So it's easy to see, oh, wow, this is how they created all that depth. And you carry that into this year, and they're not going to ask Riley Van Poppel to go from 14% of the snaps to 80% of the snaps. They're going to ask him to go from 13% of the snaps to 30% of the snaps. They're not going to ask Cam Lenhart, who's Matt Rule refers to as a starter. They're not going to ask Cam Lenhart to go from 32% of the snaps, which he played last year, to 80% of the snaps. They're going to ask him to go to 40. That's the point here. You're not asking dudes who have never done anything before to come in and be their best players. That's on both offense and defense. Hell, Coleman and Lloyd, who we talk about from last year, Malachi ended up playing 38% of the snaps. Lloyd ended up playing, think about this. By the way, for all the times we talk about Jalen Lloyd, do you know how many catches Jalen Lloyd had last year?
I don't know.
6.
Oh, God.
6. He had 6 catches last year.
We were always talking about
Jalen Lloyd. He played under 18% of Nebraska's snaps last year. You're not going to ask him to go to 100%. You're not asking him to be all Big Ten. You've filled roles in front of those guys, and you have enough depth where it doesn't all have to be on one guy's shoulders. That's the great thing about this year. That's the great thing about this year and this team. Now, I don't know if you have like guys who are going to give you extra. I don't know if you have big time playmakers. That's yet to be determined. Maybe Nair turns into one. He's got the athletic build to do it. Maybe Fedoni ends up finally realizing that potential. But if not, he's a pretty good player. And it's the same thing with Nair. I think there's a lot to like about that kind of setup. So I don't know. We'll have maybe more from the snap count thing as we go on throughout next week, because I'll probably want to bring it back up again because I spent way too much time to only do it 10 minutes.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time on it.
Here's Travis. If Raiola is a decent game manager, I think Nebraska has 8 or 9 wins. Yeah. Yeah. 7, maybe 2, 7, 8, 9.
Depends on that first 7.
Sal says, it always seems like our kickers and punters are injured or nicked up. Call me naive, but why are those injuries? Why are the spots so banged up? Not exactly taking on fullbacks in the A-gaps. Sal, that is a great question, my friend. I don't have any idea. Nebraska has had far too many kicker injuries and punter injuries over the last 10 years. Think about that. I mean, I can think of 4 right off the top of my head. Alvano, Buschini, Caleb Lightbourne, Barrett Pickering. The Barrett Pickering's backup, Jorgensen. Remember that guy? So that's 5 right off the top of my head. Kickers and punters injured. That's since 2018. I mean, that's insane. Sal, great question. If you believe in a curse, maybe that's where you start. No idea why. No idea. All right. We will come back. We have still a few things left to cover, including our fake predictions.
Well, they're not fake; they're real predictions.
Real predictions, but practice.
Yeah,
they don't count. Our predictions that don't count because it's week 0 after all. Coming back on 1620 The Zone. But first, you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and we're still going to talk about it. But now we got something a little extra for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime you'd like. Just head to FanDuel.com/Happer. Download America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel.com/Happer. Place a $5 bet. And now through September 22nd, you can get a 3-week free trial of Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. 21 and over, present in Iowa. Full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds, terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Josh, I was looking at our picks page from last year. You know the last game we picked before we wrapped up the season?
SEC championship game?
It was championship week.
Okay.
We had Oregon, Washington in the Pac-12. We had Texas and Okie State in the Big 12, back when conferences existed.
That's right.
Alabama, Georgia. We both took Georgia, by the way. Remember, Alabama won. Michigan, Iowa. Both took Michigan. Proud of that one. Florida State, Louisville. We both took Florida State. Won that one. But no, we did pick all those games, but the last game we picked last year going into conference championship weekend was Creighton, a 3-point favorite against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. We both picked Creighton, Josh.
Oh, really?
Creighton won 89-60.
That's like 100 points.
It's 30, remember?
30.
Because 29 is 30.
That's right.
That's where that came from. Josh's record last year, an astounding 58-35-1.
Put it up on the board. Put that graphic up. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful graphic.
Dear
there.
God. Connor's record, a not bad 48-45-1.
If you bet with either of us, you were making money.
So we're definitely down. We're definitely going to be
laughably bad this year.
Due to suck this year. That's why we do practice picks.
Mm-hmm.
Practice picks.
Got to get them reps.
Here on the Connor Happer Show. I have 5 things for us this week, Josh. Week 0 of college football. We'll take 4 of them. And then another thing, we'll take up the 5th thing. Number 10, Florida State is a 10-point favorite against Georgia Tech in Dublin tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., ESPN. DJ Uyunglele makes his debut for Florida State.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, this is also the fun part of the beginning of the season. You get to find out who plays for who now. Oh, look, he's over there.
New face, new place.
Yep. Josh, you won picks last year by a healthy margin. You get the first one here.
This, okay. I will take Florida State.
Yeah, I will too.
In this one.
I will too.
This game is usually a little closer when Notre Dame is not involved.
Are you high on Georgia Tech as a program in general? You seem like you're kind of bought in.
I mean, some people have really bought in on Georgia Tech. I'm not there, but I think they'll be improved.
People have commented that they have a very fast quarterback in the NCAA football video game.
Oh.
Haynes King.
They've got a very nice helmet for tomorrow.
They do.
I've seen this thing very clean.
They have a good helmet anyway.
Right.
They had a good situation. Did I tell you when I went to when I was in Atlanta last summer that I drove by this stadium? Or not this stadium, the Georgia Tech stadium.
Did you see the Ramblin' Wreck?
No, I didn't see the Ramblin' Wreck. It looks like it's very small. Like it's in like a neighborhood.
Oh.
It almost reminds you of like a very small college field. It's bigger kind of when you look out to the inside, but it's just kind of hidden back in, like there's a street no more than 15 feet like south of the south end zone. You know, it's odd place.
The Bobby Dodd is odd.
The Bobby Dodd is odd indeed. Yeah, I got Florida State here as well. Elsewhere, Montana State, who is an FCS team, is a 13.5-point favorite at not an FCS team, New Mexico. I'll repeat. Montana State, who's an FCS team, is a 13.5-point favorite at New Mexico, who's an FBS team. 3 p.m. on FS1.
Thank you. Actually, thank you for repeating that. Nothing about that line makes sense.
I think Montana State will win by more than 3 touchdowns.
Whoa.
Yeah. Give me the Grizz. No, the Bobcats. Sorry, Montana.
What the hell? This is practice, right? Give me the Lobos to cover.
Absolutely not. Garbage program.
You don't just walk into
yes, you do.
Wherever the hell the Lobos play.
Yes, you do.
The home of the Sun Bowl. I don't know.
No, that's.
No, they play the Sun Bowl in El Paso.
That's UTEP. Yeah, that's UTEP, home of the Sun Bowl. Yeah. All right, so we're against each other on that one. SMU is a 25-point favorite at Nevada. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I've heard Nevada is missing their quarterback.
Well, they don't have Chuba. SMU now in the ACC, they're getting that ACC bump.
That's a big bump.
That's too big. 7 o'clock CBS Sports Network. I will take Nevada. It's too much. Too many points.
That's a lot.
Too many points.
That's a lot of points for why the hell would you be so confident about this?
Too many points.
I'm going Nevada too.
And speaking of a lot of points,
the most points.
Delaware State makes the long trip out to Hawaii. Hawaii, I will remind you, sucks very badly.
Like the team.
Yes.
Not the place. Although you've
not kind of out on that
week.
too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hawaii is a 40.5 point favorite against Delaware State. 11 o'clock on where can this game be seen?
Pay-per-view is usually how Hawaii airs their games.
A legal stream somewhere.
The Hawaii win total is 5.5 this year.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
Delaware State, I mean, truly awful. Truly awful. Josh, will you be taking the Warriors? Not the Rainbow Warriors, the Warriors.
Gosh, that's a lot of points. I just don't know how Delaware State can manage to do anything. I'm taking Hawaii.
I am too. Hawaii by 41 points.
And I'm going to be gritting my teeth the whole game like, "Oh, why? Why didn't I take Delaware State?" And then it'll be like 42-7, 42-0.
One more thing to finish out the weekend.
Okay.
We're going to highlight baseball here. Big series in Kansas City. Should be some good crowds.
Okay.
It'll be hotter than two rats bleeping in a wool sock, as Ichiro said. The Philadelphia Phillies at the Kansas City Royals. Royals over under 1.5 wins in the series. Or you could do the Philly side as well. But let's say Royals. Over under 1.5 wins in their series this weekend against the Philadelphia Phillies.
Me or you?
You.
Look, sometimes you bet with your head, sometimes you bet with your heart. I need the Royals to have a great weekend.
I do too.
Because the Braves play the Nationals, and they could make up some ground.
I do too.
Give me the Royals here.
These next 20 games are going to be physically and mentally exhausting. Because what I think is going to happen is I think they're going to probably end up right around 500, maybe a game or two below over this stretch. It is a murderer's row for the next 20 games. But they'll be in the same place in the standings that they were. Nothing will have changed, and I'll be miserable the entire time. Starts this weekend, so let's start off on a high note. 2 out of 3 for Kansas City this weekend.
I'd love it.
We got Waka, Singer, and Lugo going this weekend.
Okay.
So sign me up for 2 out of 3. Predictions are back, Josh.
We're doing it, everybody.
We are back with the poll questions, and we'll tell you what to watch next on 1620 The Zone.
pineapple.
You just drop those pineapples in every once in a while. It's nice.
But we didn't get to hear Sipple, so I wanted everyone to hear Sipple's voice.
Yeah, I was excited to ask him about the Seether album, too.
Yeah.
Or the Seether song, I guess. All right, to the polls. Couple from yesterday. This was 158. Does it count?
My wife asked me about that one. She generally asks me for context on the poll questions.
What was this regarding?
I don't remember. I told her at dinner. I'm like, I don't remember.
Nope. Don't have it. I'll just say yes, it does count. 71% agree. That's good.
Pretty overwhelming.
This one got kind of interesting.
It did.
Do forks and spoons hate each other? I suggested this yesterday on the crossover.
And then everybody came at us with, well, they had to be in love to make the spork. And
right.
I would argue that two people do not have to love each other to
make
procreate.
a child.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with yes here. I've heard enough.
Yeah.
Rivals. 55% say yes.
Ooh, narrow margin. You
They
still
hate
have
each
about 20 minutes to vote on that.
And just 2 poll questions today. Does Bacon have a great PR team? Indeed. 78% say yes. And just now, is the Bobby Dodd odd? That might be one of our worst poll questions of all time.
Oh, no.
Yep. I hate that poll question. Yes, it is odd. 67% say yes.
Well, I felt kind of weird only having one poll question. Had to bump the numbers up.
You forced it.
But
that's what you get when you force it.
I'm okay. Yeah, I absolutely right, Coach.
It's okay. It's no big deal. We'll move on.
I want to slide an announcement in between the poll updates and what to watch.
An announcement?
Yeah, just real quick.
Is this regarding our famous guest?
Yeah, just real quick. Beyonce was never scheduled to be here today. I don't know where anyone got that from.
Yeah.
But
who was?
Look, every guest we have on the show is special, including the 2 Bryans.
We were teasing guests after our final guest joined the show today. What happened, Josh?
We had many
guests.
This
person was A-list, A-tier.
Many guests, famous people that the audience knows, poked their head in through the door during the commercial breaks of our show.
Joey was the guest?
Yeah. Alyssa
was the guest?
Sure.
Okay.
Very special to me.
There you go. Told you.
Heart.
Told you. All right. What are we watching tonight?
We're watching college football this weekend, Connor. Number 10, Florida State against Georgia Tech. The Aer Lingus Classic in Dublin. 11 a.m. Saturday on ESPN. College Game Day broadcasts live from Dublin. Sheamus, WWE superstar, your guest picker.
Oh, really? Is he
Yes.
is he good? Is he funny?
Yes, he's already drunk with Pat McAfee.
Nice.
And
they sent those guys over there too?
Yeah, Pat McAfee doing the show today in Dublin.
Wow.
Because, I mean, he's going anyway. Then, Montana State and New Mexico, 3 o'clock, FS1 tomorrow, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, CBS Sports Network, SMU versus Nevada. 9 live preseason games on TV this weekend, including Steelers-Lions at noon tomorrow on an NFL network, Cardinals-Broncos, 3 o'clock Sunday on CBS, and Sunday Night Football on NBC. Patriots, Commanders, no Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
What's the over-under on interceptions Jaden Daniels is going to throw this year? Because I'd like to take the over.
I mean, it's probably like 14 and a half, 15 and a half.
It's more than that. It's going to be, I mean, whatever the number is, bet the over. He's going to throw so many interceptions.
And then he's just going to, at some point in the season, go, bleep it. I'm just going to run all the time.
Yeah. We'll see how that works.
Major League Baseball, Reds, Pirates.
I don't think I've ever been lower on a first-round pick.
Ooh.
I'm out. I'm all the way out.
All the way out?
Yes.
Some people are saying flashes from him.
Oh, there's definitely flashes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're he's absolutely a first-round talent.
Okay.
Absolutely a first-round talent. I just do not think he's going to be good.
Not as much Major League Baseball on TV this weekend. Reds, Pirates, 5:30 tonight on Apple. 7 o'clock, Cardinals, Twins. The Braves have the honor of hosting your Roku game of the week Sunday morning, 11 a.m.
Braves.
against the Nationals. And the Astros and the Orioles from Camden Yards, Sunday Night Baseball, 6 o'clock Sunday, ESPN and ESPN2. Sadly, what?
You didn't mention the special MLB Network broadcast of Royals Phillies tomorrow?
I did not. I generally don't go through the MLB Network games on the weekend because there's so many of them.
So
we got to get
MLB
rolling.
Now crew, MLB Central, whatever, Roflo, Shahadi, DeRosa are doing the Royals game in Kansas City, but like as a kind of a talk show. I don't know what they're doing.
But a different broadcast, an alternate broadcast.
Kind of is,
but it's the main broadcast. I'll dip into that, definitely.
Let's do it.
Little League World Series sadly coming to an end in Williamsport this weekend. The international final tomorrow, 11 a.m. on ABC. Chinese Taipei versus Venezuela. The U.S. final immediately afterwards. Texas versus Florida. Big meteor. And then World Championship. 2 p.m. Sunday on ABC.
Nice.
7 WNBA games on this weekend, highlighted by the Fever and the Lynx in Minnesota, 7 o'clock tomorrow night on NBA TV. And then Aces and Sky, 11 a.m. Sunday on CBS. Finally, on Max this weekend, the long-awaited debut of Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1.
What?
Kevin Costner's 3-hour epic Western saga / epic failure follows a group of families, friends, and foes over the course of the Civil War. It's 3 hours long. This is part 1 of of an alleged 4-part series of movies. Part 1 lost like $100 million at the box office.
Oh my.
And part 2 was immediately shelved.
Is this what he quit Yellowstone for?
Yes.
Wow. That sounds horrible.
I've heard many people say I walked out, so I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, could it be worse than Trouble with the Curve?
Oh.
We'll find out.
I'll let you know Monday.
Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
That's what we're watching this weekend. That's the show. If you missed anything, you could find it on our website, 1620thezone.com. The crossover is next.
Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.